really know exactly what's wrong with me.
I'll mix anything with Coke. That's fine.
Yeah.
Vodka, rum.
That goes with everything.
I'm just not a gin guy though, so
Yeah, see, I normally just drink, you know, gin and lemonade, gin and tonic, preferably gin and tonic, but kind of enjoying gin with Coke, so pleasant surprise. Right, we should be live everywhere, I think.
Sweet.
Everywhere relevant.
How you doing?
Yeah,
You got the Twitch, you got the Kick, everything.
yeah, I think Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. This thing should be on.
The trifecta.
Yeah. Do you want to do the intro? Go while I make a drink.
I kind of hopped on here last minute. I didn't know that you two had a date tonight, so I feel like the third wheel. But yeah, we've got Firelands to talk about. Just launched. This is what, week 2. Baird Hold just came out. I went in there and did that on 10 and 25. The new boss, Akifar, or whatever his name is. Interesting boss. Easier than the first boss that we got for the first tier of Cata. We've got Warcraft Direct just happened yesterday. Everybody's super stoked about Warcraft Direct and what they announced. So we'll be talking about Warcraft Direct a little bit. We've got Subtle here again for some Blood DK conversation about how weak it is, how it needs buffs. We need a couple glyphs to help support it, get some more hype behind the Blood DK scene. They're all crying on Reddit about how, you know, Blizzard just left them in the... Oh, that's Warrior. Now, Blood DK is completely fine, and we're going to talk about how OP it is today. And then the best part of Warcraft Direct that Scotty has been calling out for months and months is the MoP announcement that we're going to be having MoP in 2025. So that's about the show there. Go ahead, Scotty.
I think you're going to notice I'm in a very, very good mood tonight. Like, I'm very, very happy. Probably the happiest I've been on one of these podcasts for a long time. Because MoP announced, Firelands I'm just absolutely loving. I wasn't expecting to have quite as much fun in there as I was, and I'm really glad they done pre-nerf, which we'll like definitely talk about that in difficulty when we get to the difficulty stuff. Just in general, man, like I'm not excited about some of the Warcraft Direct stuff, but I'm glad that other people are. But again, that's something we'll get to. And Subtle, man, just, we was going to have a nice one-on-one, me and you, no stream, just a little conversation with just the two of us, and then go invaded. So how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm great. I'm glad Go's here, honestly, man. I love Go. Go's my guy. He's my go-to guy.
How much did you pay him, Go? Because that's made me feel a little bit sick in my mouth.
Wait, hold on.
That was a subtle one that he slid in.
Wait, hold up. Yeah, it hasn't hit my PayPal yet. I'm going to walk that back for now.
Check Cash App.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm doing great, dude. I mean, same deal as you. I know we're kind of on the same wavelength, Scotty, about, MoP and Wrath and Cata. The middle WoW expansions, and I mean, Firelands has been awesome. MoP, I'm super happy for that. And we finally got the official announcement. We knew it was coming, but there's been some naysayers that are like, oh, Cata numbers are low, so they're not going to do MoP. Well, there it is. We got it. It's official. And I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, people saying that were off their head because everybody knows, like, I've heard some of the big, proper, classic Andy streamers that have even said themselves, yeah, if they do MoP Classic, I'll play it for a few weeks. You know, like, everybody, well, not everybody, that's an exaggeration, but a lot of people are not going to just quit with Cata. And a lot of people that have played Cata will come back for MoP. And I think a lot of people will come back for MoP and very quickly realise how good it actually is. But I've got a lot to say about it, so I'll wait till we get there, like as in later on in the episode, because they do need to be a bit more hands-on with MoP than they have with Cata, because I'm not even bothered about class tuning specifically, that was well timed. You both picked your drink up and drunk at exactly the same time. This is weird. What's going on with you two tonight?
It's synchronized drinking. Yeah. It's a new Olympic sport next year.
But it's going to be, yeah. I mean, look at that. What Daleks just said. Preach said he would come back to play MoP, and he swore off Classic. I mean, just think about the effect of that one person. You know, Preach has got a big following. There'd be a lot of people that would then play because of Preach. You know, as sad as that sounds, but you know, it's true. Man, like MoP's going to be such a good time. Like, honestly, I can't wait, and I do think a lot of people will be surprised. And I'm going to do my very best to show everybody over the next 6 months with lots and lots of videos of why MoP is fucking epic.
Yeah, MoP is just so good. Like, the classes across the board, they're so fleshed out, so good. It's before, you know, all the ability pruning and everything that came in WoD. So you just have the most fleshed out, awesome version of every single class. I mean, you got the symbiosis spell, which is absurd. It's crazy they ever even added something like that. A spell a druid casts on somebody, it gives the druid a brand new spell and that person a new spell. And it's different based on what spec the druid is and what spec the person they cast it on is. So there's like, I forget how many, like 80 different spells, something like that. And it's just crazy. It's like such a cool, insane spell, and just stuff like that is what makes MoP awesome. In addition to like challenge modes and some of the best raids we've ever had. Throne of Thunder, Siege of Orgrimmar, all that stuff.
Throne of Thunder, man, just so good. It's just like, MoP to me is almost perfect. Like I say, almost. If they could implement, I can't stop myself talking about it, and it makes me happy. If they could implement one thing from retail that would make MoP a massive, massive success, warbands. And I mean warband bank, warband reputation, because reputation is the biggest downfall of Mr. Pandaria with dailies and everything. So having it warband wide, so you know, when you're leveling a character, you can be getting some rep towards it at the same time. So it was more like the renowned system in retail. Like that, honestly, that one thing would change the entire expansion in a positive way. I don't know how hard that would be for him to do, obviously, but I'd love to see it. But more about MoP later.
It's such a good system. Yeah, we'll get back to it later for sure.
Cool. All right. So what we're going to talk about is, in order, Warcraft Direct, the announcements, what we're excited about, what we're not excited about, where they maybe went wrong. And like I've got a big one around where I think they went wrong personally. Which, yeah, we'll talk about that. What else was there? MoP. We'll definitely have a little bit of talk about MoP at some point, because I'm just not going to be able to help myself, because I'm going to be excited like it at Christmas. We're going to talk about Firelands, and if Firelands is too hard. And that's not, like, that might seem a bit clickbaity, but it's genuinely actually not. It's not meant to be clickbaity, you know. Like, some of the bosses are a lot more difficult than the other bosses. We've got limited time in there, obviously, even though MoP launching in autumn, September onwards. I mean, maybe we've got a lot more time in there than we think. And then we just want to talk a bit about tank balance. Because the reason me and Subtle are together tonight, like we said at the start, we was actually going to be doing a bit of a tank conversation, looking at sort of what I put out as some general ideas of how the tanks could be brought up to a DK's level rather than DK being nerfed, and just make all tanks viable and fun. But we're just going to now incorporate that into the podcast itself. So, before we get started, ways to support. Ways to support the podcast.
Super chat on YouTube, subscribe on Twitch or Kick, helps the show, and becoming a member on YouTube is the same as a sub on the other two platforms. But a nice way to get your chat highlighted up on the screen, like we've got endorphins up there right now with "What's up, lads?" We'll put anything up there that is attached to a super chat. Also, it doesn't have to be a super chat. If it's a good comment, we'll also highlight that on the screen for absolutely nothing, for free. We've got you guys. We love the support. We love the feedback, the back and forth from everybody in the chat from all three platforms. We've got it all linked here that we can put up from wherever you guys are tuning in at. So yeah, thanks for the support. And yeah, that's it.
Also, becoming a member, there is actually a couple of members-only YouTube videos for MoP and some other little bits and bobs. But yeah, they're obviously all MoP videos now. Now it's actually announced they're going to be public anyway. So you're kind of only missing out on a couple at the moment. Cool. All right. What we've been doing?
Subtle, take it away, man. What have you been up to? I know you've been tanking a lot. I got to know if you've only been doing 25 though. I think you're mainly 25, not 10, right?
I've been doing both so far. So currently I have three raids right now. Last phase I had 5. One of them went under. One of them hasn't started back up again for Firelands quite yet, but I think it will. It's just a split run of my main DK's run. But yeah, Firelands, we went in, cleared day 1. We got World 25th, US 11, which was pretty much what we expected because we didn't kill Rag on PTR. So we had to prog him live and, you know, took a little bit. It took like 20 pulls, I think. So we had put quite a bit of work into him on PTR, just didn't get the kill. So
how many, just out of interest, just to make me feel really shit, how many pulls do you reckon you've done on the PTR? If you was to hazard a guess.
On If I had to guess, I think it was around probably 80 on PTR.
Oh, okay.
Between all 3 PTRs. So that would have been, you know, some post-nerf rag pulls, and then I think it was like, I think it was 3 nights of rag pulls, and we probably did somewhere around like 25 pulls each night, 20 to 25. So we might have done like half a day also where we got like 10 pulls in, I'm not sure, but I think it was in the 70 to 80 range, somewhere around there.
Oh, okay.
And then we had we had like an extra 22 pulls, I think, to kill it on live, something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you killed it on 10 and 25?
Yeah. I have not killed it on 10 man, so my 10 man actually lost 3 players the week Firelands came out, so we're rebuilding that one right now. 2 people quit to play retail full time, and then one guy just completely ghosted us, which was kind of crazy because I raided with him for an entire year before that, and they raided all of tier 11 with us, and he just ghosted us. Like, we can see he's on Discord, we can see he's playing WoW, and he just doesn't talk to us. So I literally have no clue what happened there, but it's like, come on, man. So yeah, we have done 2, I think, raids on the 10 man. We got 6 out of 7. We're gonna start reg prog on Monday, and we were bringing, you know, 2 to 3 pugs in each time, and one of the pugs, we progged Bale Rock with a whole group of people who had never done it before except me, in like 6 pulls with 2 pugs, so I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, solid.
And one of the pugs actually said after we killed it, "Oh, I didn't know this was heroic." So, and he also, I think, parsed a 0. So we could have brought literally anybody else of his spec, and they would have done more damage, but we killed it. So I mean, that's all that matters, right? And we had fun along the way.
What loot did they win after the boss died?
Sorry, what was it?
What loot did they win? Because it's always the person that.
Actually, that was like the biggest problem. So I brought Ellie Shamans both of the nights we needed fills, and we have a main Ellie Shaman, but I just couldn't get anybody into this group because everybody who's, you know, kind of knows what they're doing, they were booked up, and it's a short week and there's prog to do, so it's tough to get anybody that really kind of knows what they're doing. And the Pug Ellie Shamans, they won like 5 pieces of Ellie gear on the rolls over our actual Ellie Shaman, so
yeah, that's harsh.
That was a tough one, but I think we have our group put together now, so we shouldn't need to bug anymore for that one, and we should be good.
Nice. So is it just Firelands you've been doing? Are you any other versions of the game or any other games or?
Yeah, so I raid once a week on retail. We've cleared heroic, the heroic raid a couple times, and we just started doing a couple mythics, but it's like half the group is guildies from Cata, and then half the group's just pugs, so it takes time to like do everything. Because like you wipe a single time, somebody, maybe more than one person leaves after like every single wipe, and then you got to spend time getting another person over and over and over again. And we somehow never are able to get a warlock either, so we can't summon anybody, so we actually have to wait for them to run to the boss and everything. And so yeah, it's definitely been time consuming, but I really like retail right now. I think it's awesome. I've been playing a Prot Warrior on there, and yeah, just been raid logging, just playing like 1 day a week and having fun with that. It's kind of fun to, you know, jump between different versions of the game. But Cat is my main one. Cat is the one I definitely put the most time into. I like the most, and right now I'll be rating on like 3 blood DKs, but pretty soon it'll be like 3 blood DKs on Prop Alley, so we'll dust off the Prop Alley soon.
Well, when we get to the announcements, there's something which anyone who knows me or has ever spoke to me for any length of time will know there was one announcement at Warcraft Direct that I'm mega excited for when it comes to retail, but we'll get to that with the announcements. But that's cool. Go. Sorry, you kept trying to talk, and I kept cutting you off because I'm a dick.
You're good. Was Rag's loot like worth it? Did you finally get the kill and you were like, oh yes, like this weapon drop for this class or anything like that? And how did the mounts go? Like, because 25 gets 2 mounts, right?
2 mounts, yeah. We just roll them. I haven't won one yet, but I will at some point. No Sulfurious though. No Hand of Rag, unfortunately. That's the big one everybody wants, especially Blood DKs. And haven't seen a single one yet, but we've only killed it twice. So, you know, eventually, hopefully, we'll get some. But Ash Candy was very elusive last phase, and it is kind of looking similar this phase for Sulfurious. We'll see what happens, but I'm hopeful.
Cool. Go.
I have been doing some naughty things.
After show, mate. After show, we'll talk about that.
Well, I said how you could support us on a couple of platforms. I didn't mention the OnlyFans. So, I've been downloading some servers to play alternate versions of World of Warcraft on, and because the Warcraft Direct, I'm kind of like on the fence right now. I don't know if I want to play it, like what version of it I would want to play. Do I want to do hardcore? Do I just want to do softcore? Do I want to play Alliance, Horde, PvP, PvE? I can't make up my mind right now, so I'm trying some other games, Turtle WoW and Stormforge. So I'm doing the pre-MoP, like MoP playing before December when Season 3 launches. So I'm going to try to play Season 2. I think they merged Season 1 and 2 or something together. So whatever that server's going on right now, I'll level up a druid on there, give it a try to see if I even want to play Season 3, and which I imagine I will. But yeah, Turtle WoW I downloaded yesterday, and I've been leveling up on there, and there was a lot of people in Mulgore. I don't know if a lot of people had the same idea that I had. They're like, yo, like fuck this 20th anniversary realm. I'm gonna play on Turtle WoW. So I'm giving it a try. I've been playing Cata as well. I did a lot of PvP. I got about 373 eye level, I think, for my PvP set. I've got all the new like honor gear, everything like 371, and I've got a lot of 386 or whatever it is for the conquest gear. I've got like 5 pieces of that. So I got the weapons, which was a big upgrade for me because I didn't get the rating in last season to get the higher eye level weapons. So going from like 359 to 371, whatever the new honor ones are. That was nice. We raided Firelands for the first time last week. In our 10-man, we got 2 out of 6 or 2 out of 7 heroic, but it was like a 3-hour window. We had a couple of people that weren't on our main roster that joined us, and I think it ended up being 4 hours. But
yeah, it was kind of just a
We
throw
can talk
together
more about
group,
that.
wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was still. I enjoyed that run. It was a very, it was a
was
nice,
fun.
it was a nice change of pace from what I had been doing. So it was nice just to go in and really the only aim from it was to get Eternal Embers and make sure we killed all 7 bosses. You know, that was it. That was literally the aim.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
what 13 out of 25 of the embers, so it was pretty sweet. I don't think we got a single crystallized fire though in that. Or maybe we got 1 or 2. That I don't think that the drop rate seemed pretty high.
Well,
for
they're
us,
only
though.
from heroic, and we didn't kill many
okay.
heroics, so yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. What did I mean, I capped my conquest in 2s with a bunch of random people. That was fun. I like doing a little arena action every now and then. So I was like playing with barrels. I played with a rogue, a fire mage. Fire mage are nasty, dude. they are so much fun to play with. I added one of the people I was playing with on my battle net, so I got to try to get some more games in with them. But I think that's about it. Sod. I've been playing a little Sod still. I'm a little hyped for the PTR. That's tomorrow for the raid, but we've got our Cata raid, so I'm like, I can't really test the AQ event and all that stuff, but I'll be keeping a keen eye on that. I still play Sod every now and then, so I'm playing a lot of different versions of WoW right now, just not retail. Sorry, Subtle. Like, fuck retail.
Hey, that's fair. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. And Scotty, what have you been up to, bro? You didn't stream too much because you take your prog very seriously. You're stone cold sober doing your progs, so.
It's not even about it being taken particularly seriously. It's more, yeah, it's fun, isn't it? You know, I'm with the boys. I want to be fully with the boys and, you know, having a laugh because we raid for quite some hours whenever a new raid launches because we don't do PTR. Someone said your mic sounds bad. Is
it mine?
Is Subtle's as well, or is it just Goes? Because he sounds fine to me.
Yeah, both you guys sound fine to me.
Yeah, everybody sounds good to me.
Oh, see if anyone else says anything. What have I been doing? So yeah, obviously, progress. I haven't got quite as happier story as Subtle's was because we done all our progress fresh. We've killed Rag Heroic. We've done 7 of 7 Heroic now, but we took a good 140 odd pulls to actually get it down, but we was plagued with issues, and that's not an excuse. Obviously we did do the prog from fresh. To put it in perspective, we had 2 people that had never been in Firelands before, like not back in original Cata, not on private servers, nothing. 2 people who had never even seen a boss in Firelands before. And then we had probably 5 or 6 of us that have played together on private servers. And yeah, we done 0 PTR. So it was all like fresh progress. And honestly, the only boss that really gave us an issue was Rag. We was like, we was at 6 or 7 heroic in a decent time. And obviously for anyone who's done Rag Heroic or just Subtle, you'll know yourself. Like if you get into the last phase and everyone's alive and you get rid of the meteors, it's a kill. Like at that point, it's just free. And we was in that position, like, I don't know, day 2 or 3, whatever it was, in the first reset, multiple times, and something would happen. Like that we had a DK taunting the boss into the entrapping routes. And the boss was on like 8% and his PC crashed when he was meant to taunt. And there was no, fire was under control. Like, it would have been a kill. And then we had another one where we went in with 2 meteors. Both meteors were gone. The boss was on, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. If I was to guess, say 15%, something like that. Everything was super clean. And then all of a sudden everyone started complaining and I couldn't work out why. And it was because the hunter had aspects of the pack on. So then we wiped to that as well. So like there was a few where it was like, it was a guaranteed kill and something went wrong. And it literally cost us the kill week 1. The thing is, when we went back, we literally had 2 pulls and it died, which was the really annoying thing. Like we could have went back the night before and killed it. But Also, as well as that being issues, our main tank has had a lot of things going on in real life where he's raiding, like he just couldn't raid, simple as that. So we actually then had to change our comp as well this week to a completely different main tank, and one of the DPS, melee DPS, was changed completely as well. But then when we got to Rag,
Who main tanked?
Hoyt then main tanked, but then we changed. We then changed back. We done 6 or 7 heroic, and then Lee was available. That's our main tank. We got him back in, and literally we done one pull. And this is no joke. We done. Oh, it was streamed. Like, you know, you can go and see the VOD on Kick if you want to see the kill. Actually, I mean, I've uploaded the kill today on YouTube anyway. But we done one pull where we got straight to the last phase. Everything was completely clean. It was on about 20%, and Hoyt DC'd, who's the one who's doing the taunting of the boss. And then we pulled again and killed it. Like, absolutely clean, no deaths, like, you know, perfect. But we was kind of robbed by the fact that one of our key players clearly plays WoW on a potato. You know, like that's the bottom line. But I've loved it. You know, like, I've absolutely loved it. There was, you know, frustrating moments on Rag because I don't like some of the guys. I don't think any of us have really been used to the amount of wipes. You know, it's been a long while, hasn't it? It's been since Lich King, literally since Lich King, where, you know, it took that many wipes to actually get a boss down. And going in fresh, the frustrations were running high at times, but it was still really fun. Like, I really enjoyed launch. But aside from that, I've just been loving this phase. I've been PvPing on 2 characters, and that's not like me. I've been PvPing on my Ellie Shaman, and I've been PvPing as Feral, and absolutely loving it. And there's Hoyt in chat now saying that's slander, but I mean, it's a fact. He's the one that seems to not be able to stay online at very key moments of fights. But man, Rag is on, like, it's been a long time since I killed Rag heroic. It would have been Apollo 2. I was going to say White Main 1, but it weren't even White Main 1, it was Apollo 2. So probably 6 years or something like that. So if I haven't done something in a week, I've already forgot how to do it, you know. So it really did feel like it was quite fresh, and it was different. Like, we really did do things differently to what I remembered as well. But it was just fun. It was, like, really fun. And I'll be honest with you, I'd say out of all of them, that's the only boss that is fun. I think all the others are, you know, they're going to get boring very quick. Like, if you've done 6 or 7 heroic already and you're just working on Rag, those first 6, like, they are going to get pretty boring pretty fast. And I appreciate not everyone's, like, sat on 6 or 7 heroic, you know, before anyone starts flaming me saying, oh, you know, not everyone sat bloody raiding for 24 hours, you know, in 2 days at launch. But I think most guilds will very quickly progress to 6 or 7 heroic, because I don't think there's that much of a challenge there outside Balrog, which people seem to be having problems with. But I think that's just one of those fights where you need to just think a little bit differently about how you handle things, which we can get into in a little while. But that's me, really. PvP, lots of Firelands. I mean, I've done over the last couple of resets, they're all melding into one, but I've, like, raided on 3 or 4 different characters now. So I've done it on my Druid Shaman, which I'm up to delegation on the Shaman now, so I'll get the first staff, like, part of the quest. I'll get the first staff this reset. Well, you know, reset coming. Raided on the Priest as Disc, and I'm raiding as Rhett on Saturday. Yeah, I've raided as Feral. I was off tanking it, and then I'm going to a GDKP, which is going to do. It's aiming for 3 or 7 heroic on Saturday, and that's as Rhett Paladin. But in general, just, man, like, honestly, I'm loving it. The thing that scares me the most is the timeline for MoP and the whole 2025 layout, because 7 bosses, it's not even just me being selfish. I think for a large majority of people, I don't think 7 bosses is going to hold everyone's attention for much more than, like, 12 weeks, personally.
There's an 8th boss. Did either of you guys get lucky loot from the first reset of Okuthar? I probably butchered his name again. The Baradin Hold guy.
It was all PvP. All PvP every time, dude.
I got baited. A Resto Druid chest dropped, and I was like looking at the stats, and I was like, hell, yes, yes. And then I got down to the set bonus. I was like, fuck.
I got the Shaman gloves, but they were the wrong spec. I got enhancement gloves, which was unfortunate. That's still better than nothing, because on every other character I've done it on, it's been all PvP gear, literally all PvP gear. Or DK gear, actually. You should come with me, Subtle. There's been a lot of DK tank legs, or DPS legs, which I think you want the DPS legs anyway, didn't you?
I do, yeah. What server are you on?
Mancrick.
I don't know if I can do Mancrick. I've heard things about Mancrick.
What, is it? You've heard that I'm there, so you're definitely not going. But that's me.
Yeah, I don't know. Just people in chat. There's some Mancrick stigma. I don't really know, but yeah, people talk about Mancrick in like hushed whispers and like, oh, you're a Mancrick player. I've never played there, so I don't know exactly what it means. But
it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest of servers. I mean, if us with absolutely no PTR progress got server second, we got server second and like 25th NA, which again, for all just actual progress while it's live, I was quite pleased with that. I'd say that.
That's great, yeah.
Anything else? Have I been doing anything else? No, a little bit of a public service announcement. No, if you've seen that, I need to look at what the game scored again because it's on my Battle.net launcher now. Avowed, that's been. It's not even a Blizzard game or anything, but it's on the Game Pass. If you've got your if you pay for the Game Pass like I do and never ever use it, if you link your Battle.net to your Game Pass, it actually goes on your Battle.net. That new game for well, not free because you pay for your Game Pass, but. I just thought I'd throw that out there because I'm going to actually have a look at that next month when it's out as well, or February, whenever it is. That's me. I'm going to make another gin.
Well, you said you were going to be playing SOD. A show or two ago, you said you were going to be leveling up on Season of Discovery.
I was here for that.
Yeah. What happened with your SOD character? You're still logging in every day for that, right?
Yeah, I've done 60? A druid. Yeah, I've done a druid.
Full tier 2 bis.
I was only.
How did BWO go?
I only streamed it on Kick. Obviously, the majority of the time I'm streaming on Kick, but I stream on. The thing is, it's safer for me to stream only on Kick because if I fancy going on MoP on a private server, I haven't got to end the stream. So if I know 100% I'm not going to be doing any private server shenanigans, then I stream on both Twitch and Kick. But yeah, I streamed SOD just on Kick. I started a druid. What did I get to? So I was on for quite a while. I think I got to 2.
And then you
I got bored.
First quest.
I got bored and logged off.
Kept playing.
Yeah, I got to like 2. I was a Tauren druid. I didn't quite get my first rune. I'm assuming that takes quite a while, so I didn't get my first rune. But yeah, I got to 2, and then I was like, yeah, I kind of like this. I'm looking forward to logging in next month and getting to 3. So yeah,
build that rested XP up.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Faster.
I'm letting the rested XP build up because it's really slow. It's only got 150% extra XP in it. Like, so it's really slow. So, but yeah, I'll gradually get to what's the max level? Is it 10? I mean, I hope it's not much higher than that.
It's 60. My friend just leveled up like super quick. I know it's only 150% XP, but yeah, she leveled up like 30 to 60 in a day, like no problem.
I am being 100% serious, by the way. I'm not trolling. I did actually create a druid on stream and get to level 2. Like, that actually happened. I'm not just saying it for effect. I was like, guys, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then I created the character, got to level 2, and I was like, man, I can't do this.
Yeah, that's where I'm at on SOD 2. I was trying to process that when you said 2. I was like, wait, level 2? Like, actually 2? That's it, though. I mean, that's all you need, right? Like, you saw everything you needed to. I saw everything, yeah. I saw more than I wanted to see, actually, yeah. So, right now I'm getting a drink. Carry on. Kind of like on Go's OnlyFans.
Yeah. You immediately regret that $4.99 payment that you subscribed for. So I'm gonna give us back into MoP here for a second and try to tie that conversation in with MoP that we're going to be talking about later on. But I was doing some research today on some show notes for another podcast episode when we do talk about, you know, what's coming in MoP. And the new Pandarian race has a racial bonus that gives you like double rested XP or something like that. And I was like, that's a kind of fun, you know, racial trait to have. You know, you log out and get twice as much rested, easier to level. I like it.
I mean, double food buff's the most important part.
Yeah, double food buff and a 4-second incapacitation thing. What is that about?
Quake in
Is that
palm.
kind of like is that like a paladin's repentance?
Yeah, more like gouge, I would say.
Huh.
Yeah, you know, yeah, but repentance, gouge, all the same thing. Yeah, obviously broken by damage. Yeah,
That's crazy
it's
for a
not
racial,
bad.
though.
Yeah. Right, can we talk about Warcraft Direct and then get to MoP? No, let's talk about these massive announcements that we got. Go on, then. I'm still making a drink. You crack on.
Oh man, I was gonna send it right back to you with your favorite part of the announcement. We got to get that out of the way because it means nothing, absolutely nothing to me. The 30-second teaser trailer that they had, where there was a guy that walked into a building and picked up a mug, took a sip, and set it down, and I guess that was them saying, "Hey, yeah, player housing is coming in retail." And
Yep.
I've seen only positive feedback about that. Everybody on Twitter was like, "Yo, the e-sex is going to be out of this world," and I was like, "Oh, maybe retail is for me. Let me hop on retail."
Yeah, no, I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for player housing. Obviously, I've got what I wanted out of retail so far, so I'm just waiting for 11.1, and I think 11.1 under mine looks sick. The whole need for speed, of modifying your speed and grip and drift and all of that on the cars actually sounds pretty insane. And then. Well, yeah, and then the next expansion having player housing. It just sucks that it's the next expansion. Like, I wish that it was coming with 11.1. That would have been mental. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Like, I love player housing when it's done right. I don't think they're going to do it right. Like, I don't. Yeah, well, you know, it's Blizzard. They're bound to fuck it up. Like, I don't think it's going to be exactly like WildStar housing was or Star Wars Galaxy's housing was. I think it's more going to be there's trophies that are attached to achievements. You know, like if you obtain glaives, you'll get a trophy that you can place in preset places in your house or something. Like, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm still like. Yeah, I hope it does. I would go round and collect everything for a player house on WoW. Like, definitely, 100%.
What if there's stuff attached to the WoW store that is a decoration for your house? Would you?
Oh, they'll do that.
Money? Would you pay money to get the cosmetics for your
I'd
house?
use BattleNet balance, innit? Use gold. You can still get it with gold technically. So I'd get gold off of Stark or Amzambi, and then I'd then swap that for BattleNet balance, and then I'd get the stuff from the store. But yeah, I'm excited for it. What did you think, Subtle? So you're playing retail anyway. What did you think about the retail announcements?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all the new stuff coming out. It looks good, and player housing is a long time coming. I mean, literally in vanilla Stormwind, they had an area that was originally planned to be player housing and just never got done. And then the famous garrisons in WoD, came later. They hopefully learned a bunch of lessons from that, and we'll be able to look at what other games have done and make a little bit better player housing. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it would be really cool. Like, they have so much world to work with now at this point in retail. There's just so much space everywhere. It would be kind of crazy if you could actually buy like plots of land and stuff. Like, buy a plot of land in like Grizzly Hills or something like that. That'd be pretty sick. But I don't know. I'm sure it'll be. I gotta think it's gonna be like instanced, and I mean, for sure it'll be like what would it be, like phased, I guess. at a minimum. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm kind of excited for it. I hope they can do it right. I'm hopeful.
That's the second person who's commented about it. It sounds like everyone's talking into a fan or a tunnel. I'm not hearing that.
I don't hear that either.
Me neither. I don't know if it's like a mic that you're using, Scotty.
No, I mean everything's set up as normal.
I have no fans on in my room, so it ain't me.
I mean, I do have a fan on in my room, but has that just changed anything? Because I just turned off noise suppression.
Sounds the same to me.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it sounds any different to the stream. No one's ever complained about it before, and it's always been on, so... Yeah, that's why I turned... Louder. Yeah, that's why I have noise suppression turned on. Let me put that back on.
All right.
Oh,
sweet.
but that fixed it, apparently. Okay, so... I'll tell you what I'm going to have to do. Just face my fan away a bit, and then I'll turn that noise suppression off. And I'll put it on my end.
Anybody playing Warcraft Rumble that was excited for the Warcraft Rumble teaser stuff that they gave out?
I honestly don't even know what it is.
I played it the first
I've
week
heard
after
of it.
BlizzCon, yeah, and I haven't played since November of last year. It's been a year, I guess, since I've really played it. I was hoping for a good mobile game though from them, and it wasn't for me. Hopefully, in a couple of years, I'll get my mobile fix from them, and I can get off of my Pokemon Go thing that I have going on. It gets me outside though. If there was like a version of WoW that was like tied to Pokemon Go, like Monster Hunter just came out like a couple weeks ago, I'd play the hell out of that. I mean,
they got pet battles.
Pet battles,
like,
yeah.
They could like parlay that into like a Pokemon Go thing.
I would love
it. Could happen, Go. It could happen.
MoP is only like 6 months away. They have plenty of time. Yeah.
Dude, that was such a crazy time when Pokemon Go came out. Just like that first like couple of weeks, just like everybody was outside catching Pokemon. It was just like this magical moment in time. You would just see people meandering around on their phones, and you just knew they were, looking for Pokemon.
Yeah, I live at an oceanfront, and the oceanfront was just packed all night long. Like it's 3 a.m, and there's just groups of 50, 60 people. There's police out there like making sure everything's okay, like for just weeks on end. It's like, yeah, this is sick.
Sorry, I'm trying to get this so they can't hear the fan. So I'm just listening to you and just looking at the audio.
Do we get to the fun part about Warcraft Direct? The classic 20th anniversary realms that got announced.
Classic.
Yeah.
That was terrible. Right, just can you hear the fan? That. Can you hear my fan?
Is it your only fit? I'll stop.
Because that, I mean, I can see it registering. You can hear it. Yeah, that's why I have noise suppression on, so I can have the fan on. That's really, really annoying.
Just turn it off and start sweating, man. It's fine.
Go on, you just carry on. I'll work it out. You just carry on.
Well, November 21st, which is a week away at this point, we're getting fresh era realms that are going to go phase to phase, so it's not like everything is all at once like the hardcore realms when they came out. It was in like the final stage, phase 6 or whatever it is on era. So we get to go through everything like it's 2019 again, but with some changes this time. It's not going to be a no changes. There are some changes. A big topic of discussion, which I see Hammers chilling in chat. He's been going on a couple of rants and some private messages about GDKPs being banned, and I totally agree with his stance. Like, I think it's a mistake. I think GDKPs should not be banned. There's a whole argument and rabbit hole we can go down about that. What else was there for these realms? One of each. I think that was probably a smart decision, but I think Scotty might have a different take on how fresh realms that start off with one, and then like a new realm opens up once one caps. Because you went through that with the Wrath servers.
Yeah, but they've got a lot more, apparently a lot more capacity now, haven't they? So, yeah, if they're using whatever they've got for the SOD, what they've done with the SOD clients, apparently it's it can hold, what, like 50,000 or something each server? So, I feel like they're probably all right. I honestly, I think the servers are going to be dead after about 3 months. I just do.
I think the fact that it's leading to TBC is, the biggest thing that's going to drive it. I'm kind of confused why they didn't just start with TBC, because that's what most people want right now. And for most people, it's just, TBC waiting room. And fresh is always fun, like for a little bit, even if you're not going to play it long term. I'm definitely going to check it out. I think I'm going to raid on it, on a single character. But TBD, we'll see. But when TBC comes out, that's for sure the main thing I'm interested in. Get that prop alley going, do, kerosene, the heroic dungeons. That early TBC is just so peak.
Oh, I'm with you. I just think I'd struggle with the leveling. I think I'd need someone to do it for me. I love phase 1 of TBC. I just don't know if I've got it in me to... Yeah, especially I don't want to play fresh vanilla, so I won't even create a character on there. Not even out of interest, just to go and see how busy it is. No. And then I think by the time I'm actually wanting to play, I'll probably be there's so much, people have got so much gold already. Everyone's already been on it for a year. Because at the moment, I'd like to think that I'm going to go on there when it's in the TBC pre-patch, but I think by the time that actually happens, I'll be like, nah, fuck that. I'm kind of over all that. But even TBC, yeah, phase 1 would be great, but can I be asked to invest all that time and get into 70 and, just to enjoy, tier 4 again, and then probably never play it again? It's probably a waste for me. Because we're going to be balls deep in MoP by then, and I don't think people quite understand how invested I'm going to be in MoP. I am in Cata anyway. Let's face it, for anyone who actually watches the streams, not just the podcasts, you all know the amount of time I spend on Cata. You all know the amount of time I spent on Wrath. For me, all along, I was kind of coasting through vanilla, Classic 2019, coasting through TBC to get to Wrath, Cata, MoP, even WOD. This is peak time for me. And I know there's loads of people that are like, Cata's dead, bro, or MoP's dead on arrival, and all that shit. I don't care. As long as there's a healthy population on the server that I play on, and I've got a group of people that I enjoy playing the game with to raid with, I don't care if it's the most popular version of WoW or not. You know what I mean? That don't mean anything to me. It's people have been trying to tell me to get on the the hardcore bandwagon because it's going to blow up next week. And it's I don't want to just play something I'm not going to enjoy just for the sake of views or getting more people in the stream or what. That ain't me. I want to play what I enjoy, because I actually even find that I'm more proud of the content that I put out on YouTube when it's about a game that I'm actually enjoying playing. Do you know what I mean? When it's a version of the game that I feel passionate about, I feel like I put more effort in. So kind of fuck all the haters. MoP's where it's at, and that's where I'm going to be. Probably from start to finish without deviating on any other servers at all, I would imagine.
Yeah, all you need is one server for any version of the game. Look at Classic era. Everybody plays on White Main. There's plenty of people playing it. You just need a single server. It doesn't really matter. Classic era has, I think, around 17k weekly raiders. And you just get one server, and your personal experience is going to be that, tons of people are playing, and, there's lots of raids happening, because that's what's happening around you on your server. The GDKP thing too, I think we should probably touch on. I think it's such a bad choice to get rid of GDKP.
Yeah.
This is a version of the game where raids are the hardest to put together. Handling 40 to 50 people, because realistically you don't handle 40 people, you handle more 50 as a guild and raid leader, which I did in Vanilla Classic, and it is the worst thing you can do to yourself for sure. It sucks. And almost no loot drops from the bosses. You get like 2 pieces of loot. So hopefully that's a change they would at least make, is since, you know, we're going through this quicker, you get more loot. Honestly, like 6 pieces per boss. That'd be great. I think that'd be great for a 40-player raid. And like GDKP is what has kept Classic Era afloat like all this time. And they're like, you know what if we get rid of the best pug loot system in the whole game? It's just gonna make less raids happen. Like, this is the most time-consuming version of WoW to put raids together, and you're gonna take away the best pug loot system that exists? That's crazy. It's just gonna make fewer raids happen, which is just worse for the game. And it's wild to me that they're like so in on this. And it's like just like 10 people on Reddit that are like smugly like, oh yeah, GDKP sucks. It ruins like the social fabric of the game. Like, fuck those guys. Like, it makes the game worse for everybody else. Like, we want to raid. That's what we want to do. Give us the tools to do it the easiest way possible. Yeah. Like, nobody wants to spend the time setting up these raids, like, to begin with, and then throw in the fact that you can't even use the best pug loot system possible. Is wild to me, man.
I hate soft res. I hate the main spec, off spec +1 systems. Like, GDKP is just the better system for me, especially for like the pug scene. If I had a guild, then, you know, we could have like our loot council, and then have like a GDKP as like a second run for our alts and stuff like that. Like, that's my favorite type of setup. I've got like known loot system for the guild, and then we chill together on the weekend, have our GDKP on our alts, make some gold to help support our main characters. And if somebody misses our main run, then we can put them in the GDKP, give them some guild gold, and help them buy their loot that they missed out on for the main run.
I don't feel like I've gave a spicy take for a long time where I anger everyone, but GDKPs, if there's ever going to be a time to do one, it's going to be now. I've always said I don't really care about GDKPs, you know, as in they don't affect me. Like, if they're there in, you know, because like I do GDKPs, like I said earlier, I'm doing one on Saturday. Like, I do GDKPs for one reason, and that's so I don't have to pay for game time. You know, I don't really do it for any other reason. I don't go in there necessarily just to make gold, because what's gold? Like, what do I need it for? You know, really, at the point we're at in Cata, like, gold is not really quite as valuable as it was before. You know, everything's cheaper. You can go out and do a handful of dailies and make enough gold just to be able to, you know, do a whole week's worth of raiding or whatever, you know. But at the same time, if I didn't want to do them, I wouldn't do them. I certainly wouldn't do them even if they existed, if I was to play vanilla, because there's no WoW token. So that straight away would remove the point of me wanting to do them anyway. I see what Blizzard are trying to do, but I don't think they quite understand, even having done it in Season of Discovery, what the knock-on effect is, where it's to deter RMT and everything, but it massively inflates prices on the auction house. Like, and, you know, actually gold farmers and people buying gold is kind of then even more rife than it would be if they was buying it. Like, the small minority of people was buying it to go in and spend it in GDKPs. Like, I think actually GDKPs is a net positive on any server. And I think it's another reason for people to log in and play the game as well. Like, Saturday afternoon, when someone said they're getting removed, I was thinking, right, on Cata, if they removed them on Cata tomorrow, how would it affect me? Wouldn't really affect me a great deal. Other than Saturday afternoon, I'd have a few hours of my life back. You know, because I wouldn't be going to that raid if it wasn't a GDKP. You know, so surely, like, there's going to be a lot of people like me that only raid on their third or their fourth character because they can join a GDKP. You remove that, and then that's even less time spent in the game. That's more time then spent on potentially another game that then ends up drawing you away from WoW. Again, I know it's a bit of a spicy take. I'm not saying like, oh, people are like, Blizzard are going to lose loads of subs just because of GDKPs, but I do think it has like a a bit of like a domino effect. I don't think it's as simple as remove GDKP so it stops RMT. I get it on a seasonal server. That's the only thing I will say. I understand it on Season of Discovery because I don't think somewhere like Season of Discovery should actually have gold as valuable as it even is now. You know, where it is like what it was when I was playing Season of Discovery in like Phase 1 and 2. It was quite painful to actually make gold to get your consumables and stuff. You know, it was... everything was expensive, you know, to get your profession quests done and all of that, you know, everything was quite expensive where you did actually have to actively farm. And I don't think a seasonal server should be like that. Whereas, like, what are they going to do with these fresh servers? We know they're going to TBC. Are they going to go to RAF? Are they going to go to Cata? Like, at some point, are we going to have retail is going to be in the last part of the World Soul Saga while us lot are playing WoD Classic and then they're in Cata Classic again or something? Like, you know, I don't... It blew my mind that they announced TBC... it blew my mind that they announced that it was going to go into TBC because I think that's such a bold thing to do. When the servers could be dead once the whole hardcore hype dies down. And I actually think the hardcore realms are going to be busier than the actual vanilla, just the standard classic realms after, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks. Like, none of it makes sense to me. But I'm coming at it from a perspective of someone who's not really particularly a vanilla enjoyer. So I could end up being completely wrong.
Should they have announced more or less? Like, if they would have just announced that that's classic fresh like servers without announcing that it was going to go to TBC, would that have been better than announcing that there was TBC?
That's what I would have done.
We're having TBC and Wrath, and then these servers are going to...
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying they should have announced more. I'm saying they should have announced less. I think they should have just announced that it's a fresh classic. It's a fresh classic era. It's a fresh, you know, hardcore. But they're all now rolled into sort of the same thing, but just with different servers. And they shouldn't have even mentioned TBC because, like, now all the people that want TBC just like, well, fuck it, I'll just wait. I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to wait for TBC. They should have done. They should have done a TBC server, like just a standalone TBC seasonal server. I would have even gone as far as actually skipping vanilla, doing the fresh era, doing a fresh era and a fresh hardcore era for those people, and then said, we're skipping that though. We're doing a TBC into RAF. 1 year of TBC, 1 year of RAF. Like that, I think would have actually been. I think it would have been better because we've already got vanilla servers. That's the bit that I can never wrap my head around. It's like, what is gonna? I know fresh is great and all that, but like if people want to go and do the leveling from 1 to 60, you can go and do it already. If you want to go and raid Molten Core, Blackwing Lair, all of that, you can go and do it already. Where it is actually still, you know, all at level 60 and everything's the same. I don't know. I think the whole announcing that it's going to go into TBC was just a wrong one, in my opinion. I think it's going to put more people off than get them to play. You can't just
go and do it. It's a different experience on a couple of fronts because there's extra loot that's available that wouldn't have been available if it was a fresh, like from Phase 1. Because the loot system changes, right, in the dungeons and stuff. I think that's how that worked in Classic.
Yeah, where like where you got 0.5.
Yeah, from what I've heard, all the raids in Era are GDKPs. So even if you did level up to 60 and you have 0 gold, how are you going to get into a GDKP?
But are people actually looking forward to the raid? Is that it? Is that the bit that I'm missing? Because to me, the majority of people that I speak to, you know, even some of the bigger streamers, they're all like, you know, it's all about the journey. It's about 1 to 60. It's about the, you know, no one ever says, oh, it's all about getting into Molten Core. Molten Core's amazing. I've never heard anyone ever say that. So, if it's about the journey, you can do the journey already. Like, you've been able to do the journey for ages. All right, it's fresh. It's going to be exciting. Man, I honestly, like, I'll die on this sword. You know, like, they should have just done a TBC seasonal server and just been very, like, upfront and just said it's TBC only. At the end, it will be done. You know, we may then do a second season and your TBC characters will go on to a TBC era server, but it's done. It's not going on to RAF. Or they said, we're going to do TBC into RAF, you know, one or the other. But I feel like mentioning TBC, but then saying, oh, yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to play it until next fucking Christmas, though. It's like I don't see the point of even talking about it now.
Yeah, it's a wild choice because the amount of community interest in TBC right now is higher than I've ever seen. Obviously, since before Classic TBC came out, and like this is their moment to capitalize on Classic, like another run of Classic TBC, and they're like, you know what, we're not gonna do that. It'll be out in like a year. I don't know if you guys are gonna be interested then, but it'll be out in a year. It doesn't really make any sense. Like people want a fresh TBC right now. Just give them a fresh TBC. Like all the work's already been done. They can just roll that shit out. I'm sure there's obviously some amount of work that goes into it, but it's a game they already made and then a game they already remade. Like most of the work's been done, right? Like people want it right now. Give it to them. Sure, like if people really want the vanilla fresh, do one of those too with 1 or 2 servers, whatever. But there needs to be a TBC fresh server now. It can't be a year from now. That is like there's so many people that are just viewing this vanilla fresh as TBC waiting room. Everybody just wants TBC. They don't want this year until TBC. Just give us TBC. It's wild. It's kind of maddening because that's all we want, and private servers are the only TBC option right now.
They could have done a TBC server and added the NPC that allows you to turn off your experience gain. So all those that wanted to do Molten Core and all that stuff, they could have got to 60, turned off their XP, done their raids. They would have been fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, my issue, just to reiterate, because I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent and was going in all different directions, even though, again, anybody who knows me or talks to me or watches me on Kick, anything like that, knows, I'm like, I hate it when they haven't even got a clear plan. That's my main issue at the moment. It's like, okay, so you're doing a fresh vanilla server, fine, I don't care, like people enjoy it, like cool, whatever. I've got MoP got announced. I'm as happy as a pig in shit. Like I'm set. I don't need anything else. But to say it's going into TBC and there's nothing else. If they said, oh, it ends, an error occurred with output, I don't know what that was. If they just said, oh, it ends, it's ending at TBC, be finite about these things. Because I am really worried that is just going to then go into Wrath, and then it is going to how many versions do we need? At this moment in time, they do not need any more versions of the game. All they should be doing is seasonal servers, nothing else. Yeah, so if this 20th anniversary edition should have been seasonal, and that's it. It's like here, it starts here, it finishes there, and then we'll see what comes next.
I know it's crazy, but I would already play Wrath again. If there was the option, I would be playing TBC, Wrath, Retail, and Cata, and MoP right now. If they give me the option, I would be rating on one character on each of those for sure. 100%. I don't know. I just like all these versions of the game. I really like. Vanilla is like the one I don't like as much, but I mean, if I play a warrior, it's all right. But I hate world buffs in general, but those other expansions, like, man, I love just going in, playing a little bit different version of the game, like one day a week, and just going through different stuff, because I can play a Wrath Prop Alley forever. I can play Cata Blood DK forever. I can play like a MoP tank forever. And Retail, pretty much everything's awesome too. Like, it is fragmenting the player base 100%. I think the answer to that is just fewer servers though. Like, if we just have one or two servers for each version, that's awesome. You have a great server with just one, or great version of the game with just 1 or 2 servers. I might be the exception though, but I would legitimately play every single version if it was available to me.
No, I don't think you're the exception. I've said all along, and I was saying in the lead up to Warcraft Direct, if they'd done a fresh Wrath server, I'd do one character. I wouldn't raid like hardcore, you know, as in I'd want to clear Nax, I'd clear Nax, I'd do Alduar a couple of times, you know, I would get all of the raids clear and keep my gear up to date, but I wouldn't be like farming, you know, every week. It'd be very much like go hard at the beginning of a phase for a few weeks and then wait until the next phase and then rinse and repeat. But just literally on one character. TBC, yeah, I just don't know if I can go that far back nowadays. Honestly, it was really tough. Like I say, even when I've logged on SOD, how slow that feels. Like even Cata, obviously I love Cata, but you know, going from retail to Cata, obviously subtle, you know yourself. Obviously, it feels like Cata feels very slow. The mechanics on bosses, like everything, just feels like you've got so much time, like time to think in your rotation, time to think in boss fights. Whereas, like, yeah, I think MoP's that like nice, happy middle ground between retail and sort of where maybe retail and Wrath, I would say, somewhere between there. But I don't know if I could play TBC seriously. I maybe could with the right crowd. I could be convinced to fuck about on it. You know, that would be about it. But vanilla is kind of where I like absolutely draw the line. But Hammer did ask earlier about hardcore, and just for anyone who is interested, or if you guys are even interested, which you're probably not, I've said I'm going to do one character, like on the hardcore realms. I'm going to create one character. If I die at level 2, which would most likely be like suicide, just so I can get the fuck off it, then you know that may be the case. But I'm going to do one, and that's it. Well, I said I'm going to do 2 Stark, but I said I was going to do a duo with Inform, and like a duo with Inform and a solo one on my own. I'm hoping Inform never comes back to the stream and takes me up on it, so I can just do the one.
Well, speaking of Hammer and hardcore, I'm not going where you think I'm going with that. He did a race to Ragefire Chasm event, which I was a part of, and I forgot to mention that and like what I've been doing. It was a week ago, something like that, and it was a 3-hour window. Everybody made a fresh character on the hardcore realm, and you had like there was 20 of us, so there was 4 party leaders, and they went around and picked their teams. We had our 3-hour level session, met outside of RFC, went in there, tried to clear it. I only got to level 9 in 3 hours. I was playing it, I guess, kind of safe. None of the druids got their bear form, and we were all in the same group. Like, it was a full group of 5 Taurens, the only 5 Taurens that leveled. So we didn't make it that far. We didn't even make it to the first boss. It was pretty rough, but there was a group that made it pretty far through RFC, and he's doing another event on the 29th of November. It's a Friday, starts at 4 o'clock Eastern, and it's race to Dead Mines. So it'll be Alliance characters only. You can sign up on his Discord, check out Hammer Dance on YouTube. You can find his Discord through there, and sign up if you're interested in that. So shout out Hammer Dance. Sorry for the...
No, it's all good.
Advertisement
no, it's all good because I'm interested myself. Like, I'm well up for that. Would anyone take me as a level 3 paladin to Dead Mines?
It's 6 hours you get to level this time, so you should have plenty of time to get to like 15, 16, something that's going to be really comfortable to go through the Dead Mines.
Mate, I can't even picture leveling on a vanilla server for 6 hours. I'd be done in 15 minutes.
With these the new hardcore server, when you die, you'll have the option to transfer to the regular fresh, right? Because I think that's how it worked before. So yeah. that should help, I think, with the population. Because I've already talked to like several people who are like, yeah, I'm gonna start on hardcore, and like if I have the option to then transfer, like that's what I would do. I would just level a hardcore character. Whenever I die, it just transfers over to the vanilla fresh, and then I'll just keep playing it there. So I think it's kind of a good synergy those two things have together, and it should lead to some level of longevity, I guess. I'm not sure how long, but I am looking forward to the hardcore clip compilations coming back. That stuff is so good. Just like peak entertainment. That was a highlight for me, like when hardcore really started taking off. Just watching those death clips all the time, and I'm definitely excited for those to come back. I assume they will.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I do much prefer watching, a couple of 30-second clips of people dying rather than me having to play it for like 12 hours. Yeah, no, it's not for me. We're still on Warcraft Direct announcements, right? I mean, I think... Yeah, my just... If I was just to give my opinion on all of it just as a whole, I think the retail announcements were great. I think the fact that the Vanilla Fresh and Vanilla Hardcore servers are coming, cool. Like, if that's what people want, then cool. MoP, amazing, obviously. I was kind of like on the hook all the way until the end when it turned out to obviously be player housing, which I'm assuming was meant to be the special announcement at the end. I was expecting more, even though I'm excited for player housing. I was expecting a lot more from Warcraft Direct. I went in with very low expectations, so I still wasn't disappointed. But I feel like they didn't really announce anything that was of any surprise to classic players. Anyway, retail were probably quite surprised by player housing and probably loved the look of 11.1. But for the majority of the classic player base, there was nothing, was there? I was kind of expecting a big, I don't know, seasonal server or just something a bit more than what they done.
The SOD announcement was kind of cool. We didn't get a Scarlet Crusade raid. It turns out it's just going to be like a dungeon, and same with like the Karazhan. We're going to have a Deadwind Pass. It looks like the Karazhan Crypts sort of style dungeon instead of a raid, which I know a lot of people were hoping it was going to be like a Karazhan raid, Scarlet Monastery raid. So hopefully those dungeons are cool. I'm imagining they're going to do the same thing that they did with the other new dungeon that they made in SOD. It's just going to be like what you can go to right now in game, and it's just going to be instanced off and a couple of trash mobs, a couple of bosses thrown in there. Hopefully that's fun, because I didn't check out that other dungeon that they made. I can't even remember the name of it, but it was off in Ashenvale. But these two, I've got my eye on it. I'll try to go out there and give those dungeons a shot. So I was stoked for that.
Well, Agron did say as well, didn't he, afterwards, that there is actually going to be long-term support for SOD still. Like, I don't
it's
really
not
know what that means.
Seasonal. He said it's going to like actually persist, I guess. So
yeah, like a SOD era or something. People are
that's
really
just
there's
be
so many
another
questions.
one of them.
I know, like they didn't say enough about some things. The little bit that they did tell us, they didn't tell us enough about it.
So what about you guys? What was your general, before we move on, general feelings from Warcraft Direct? Did you walk away pleased or wanted more, or
I mean, we got the MoP announcement, so I walked away pleased just because of that. Like, I knew it was coming, but having it official, that's really the main thing I was looking for. I did think they were going to announce their like Classic Plus project they're working on during this event, but in some other blue posts they said that's going to be coming later. So I'm not sure when they're going to be announcing that, but there is apparently something big coming up at some point for that. But yeah, as far as Classic, it was just kind of all stuff we expected, right? Because like, I'm sure you guys saw like some of the bigger streamers like leaked, the new Hardcore Realms coming in November and stuff like that, like a while back. And we already knew MoP was coming because of, it just makes sense, but also just the data mined mounts and everything. So nothing too surprising. So it was a little bit of a letdown in that regard, but I actually play Warcraft 3 quite a bit still, and they did a huge update for Warcraft 3, which was awesome. Because Warcraft 3 Reforged like completely like butchered the game and made it worse than it already was. And this 2.0 thing actually kind of just, from what I've experienced so far, I've only played a little bit, but it kind of brought it back up to what Warcraft 3 was before. So I'm excited about that. Like, the game looks more like OG Warcraft 3, like the menus and everything. Before they had this, the UI was just awful. Like, you would join a game and where like the in-game like chat window was like covered other text, so you had like text on top of other text, and it was just a UI disaster, and they fixed that stuff, and the game, the menus and everything just look way, way better. It doesn't look like it's a game in alpha anymore, which is wild that it released in, the version it released in. But what I've seen of the Warcraft 3 changes so far, I've been absolutely loving. I'm glad it's kind of back on track now.
Yeah, well, let me cut you off, Scotty. I know you want to talk a little bit about Warcraft 3 because I think you're interested in giving that a try. But I got to shout out Rexel, who gave us a super chat earlier on, and Scully for another one, Plunderstorm. I never played the first version of Plunderstorm. I have no interest in the second one. If they give me something like I think we were live already talking about like a mobile game for Classic, I would play that. But I don't know if there's any sort of style of game like Plunderstorm that they could develop that I would be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play Classic WoW and this game. I don't think that they can grab me like that. Like I tried the MoP remix, that also wasn't for me. I'm glad that they're trying these things. A lot of people really like that kind of stuff, and it's getting Blizzard money, so Blizzard likes it. They're gonna keep doing it, but if they could develop something for me. I don't even know what it is. They have to surprise me. There's got to be something fresh, something new, just for me only. Like, fuck everybody else. This game is for Go. He gets max level instantly. He gets all the loot.
In MoP, you're gonna have pet battles. That's for you, right? Just for you.
The pet I am stoked about pet battles.
There you go.
If they brought pet battles early into Cata, I mean, hey.
Well, I didn't play Plunderstorm last time. I will this time. And the same as, like, there's speculation going around that there's going to be maybe a Legion remix. I think that's what most people are thinking at the moment. Obviously, when MoP Remix came out, I weren't really interested in retail at all. Weren't playing it at all. I think if they'd done a Legion remix now, I would probably give it a crack, to be honest with you. I think if they'd done any remix now, I would actually give it a crack. Whereas... yeah, back when they done MoP Remix, it wasn't MoP, was it? That's why when people were saying, like, oh, they won't do MoP Classic because they've just done MoP Remix, it's like, yeah, that's fucking blasphemy. Even putting both of those game types in the same sentence, please, like, go away and don't talk to me. So, it was so far away from what I would want from MoP that I had no interest in it. But if they'd done it now I'm actually enjoying retail, I would probably be more open to it. So a remix I could see them doing. Anything in terms of Classic Plus outside of like more SOD content, I don't see that personally.
I was actually interested in playing MoP Remix quite a bit, but they released it, I think, the same week Cata launched. It was within a couple days of Cata launch. So I just couldn't play it because of that. And that kind of sucked. So if they do this in the future, I hope there's, a little bit of a gap between releases like that.
Yeah, I think most people who were playing MoP Remix, I would say, I'm going to just like pick a number out of the area, but I reckon probably 80% were retail players. I think that was sort of it was aimed at more than Classic players, so they probably didn't really care about the Classic timeline at the time. Whereas I think a lot more Classic players are actually have at least tried the War Within and actually seen that retail was not that bad. I'm one of them. I'm one of them that I never thought in a million years I'd be playing retail again when we've got Classic and enjoying it. So, yeah, I think another remix at some point would actually probably do better than MoP Remix did. But in regards to what some people are talking about in chat, like, I've said all along, just clarity is all I want from Blizzard, like nothing else. The whole, like, I don't know whether they think they're actually keeping us on the edge of our seat. Like even waiting until Warcraft Direct for MoP to be announced. Like, why do they not just say Classic is going to run alongside retail? There's no end in sight. It is just going to run alongside retail. Rather than like just doing the same shit where it's like, oh guys, we're gonna do WoD Classic. Like it's a big surprise. If there's people still playing the game, they're gonna do it. Obviously, at some point, if they've got a point in mind where they're gonna then end it, I would just love to know what their plan is. You know, they must have a plan and be like, right, if we get to Legion, then at the end of Legion, we're gonna put a pin in it, and all your characters are gonna go onto retail, or they're gonna end up on a dead realm. You know what? No one ever plays anymore. That's all I've ever wanted. Is just a bit of clarity, and I understand it might be difficult for them to do. But I also, at the same time, don't actually see the harm in Classic just running alongside retail anyway, because it's on the most part a different player base. So I don't know how far exactly you would want it to go, but I just think a lot of people are invested in their characters in Classic. You know, like I'm invested in mine, and I just don't see a point where even BFA, which everyone hates and, you know, memes on all the time. I think when we'd get to the end of, like, Legion, you know, I probably still wouldn't want to drop my character. I'd probably go and play through it anyway, just for the raids and that. You know, like, I don't actually see a stepping off point for me personally, unless there's another game, obviously, that comes out at the time. But just Blizzard actually being a bit more open about the future.
Yeah. Well, Dirtbag asked, is Subtle going to be playing Classic? And there was a couple of changes that they said that they were going to have, like the looking for group tool. They didn't say that you were going to have like random dungeon finder, which I think Scotty and I agree on should be in for this version of Classic. Like, I don't want to just have a tool that groups me up, and it doesn't even randomly group you up, I don't think, right? It's just like a tool like Bulletin Board, from what it sounds like, the add-on. So they're actually going to have an in-game version that you don't have to download the add-on for. That part I like, but the whole LFG tool, just randomly queue me up, man. Like, teleport me to the dungeon. I don't want to have to fly to Sholo, to Strathholm. I don't want to like find a group and then have to drop the group and then pay a fucking warlock bot 5 gold to summon me across the world, and then that gold goes onto a site that gets sold for RMT, because that's what they're doing instead of the GDKPs. There's a
but that's not now vanilla now, is it? You know, that's the thing. That's why it's not for me. It's not for maybe you, but the sounds of it, you know, I love the quality of life improvements. I love achievements, pets, mounts, you know, reasons to go and do old content, and, you know, all of that. Like, you know, that is what I enjoy. Whereas vanilla, for me to play vanilla, I almost want it to be like Cataclysm, but at level 60, you know.
Yeah.
Which that just says that's not that Blizzard need to change it. It's that I shouldn't play it. You know, that ultimately is what it is. They shouldn't change it to please people like us when we've got all that somewhere else. So, like... Yeah,
it's all about me, Scotty.
Yeah, but I mean, even like doing like that as an experimental thing. You know, if they done like a Season of Mastery type thing again, you know, where it was pretty much a, you know, like a 12, 14, 16 month vanilla, but then they put all of those things in there where it's like, look, guys, you know, this is only a seasonal server. Like you know, it's done at the end of it. Then, you know, you can play with those things. But I think launching a fresh vanilla server, calling it a 20th anniversary realm, and then putting all of that shit in, as much as I love it, as I say, when I'm calling it shit, I don't mean I don't like it. I love it. I don't want to play a version of WoW without it, but I just don't think it's the right place to put it.
So what would you want since you are going to be playing it, I think, is there any change like that you would want that they didn't announce? Because I think we're going to be getting some more information on some little changes. Like, they might have announced the debuff cap is going to be like non-existent, which is good. So, well, yeah, what would you want to see?
Yeah, for me personally, it's you know, buff cap removed, debuff cap removed. Big thing for me is if you're gonna keep world buffs in the game, I would prefer they're just not in the game personally. But if you are gonna keep them in the game, make it much, much easier to get them. Because to me personally, that's the worst part of vanilla, is getting the world buffs, and just the world buffs in general. They make all your gear upgrades feel really bad because you get most of your power just baseline from your world buffs. So you get a new piece of gear, it doesn't feel very impactful because you already have most of your power just from those buffs you got. So to me, I think the game, so to preface this, I played the beginning of Vanilla Classic, world buffing the whole time. I played the middle part, no world buffs. And then I played the end of it, Extremis, with world buffs. And goddamn, the no world buffs part, that was my favorite part for sure. My gear upgrades felt meaningful. I didn't have to spend hours collecting my world buffs on this PvP server where everybody, there were priests everywhere dispelling, and I had to pop an invis pod every time I went to Orgrimmar and like log out around a corner and log in at specific times, watch the Discord, make sure I'm logging in every, 4 hours or whatever to get my world buffs. And it was just a mess. So to me, I would really prefer there's no world buffs. I understand a lot of people like world buffs. Fine. If there's going to be world buffs, please make them more manageable, easier to acquire. Like if you run dungeons, you get some currency. I think they have something like this in SOD. I haven't played SOD since like phase 1 or 2. But like just give some kind of currency. Like you do dungeons, you can buy your world buffs from a vendor. That would be great. Like
that might be coming.
That'd be awesome. Cause like it, in that way, at least like it makes more dungeon runs happen and things like that. There's more things happening that lead to you getting your E0 world buffs. So that would be the main change for me personally. If there are going to be world buffs, just make it much, much easier to get them.
This is why I'm so happy I don't like vanilla, because that straight away people will be like, no, world buffs are the biggest part of the game, and like going around and getting them creates world PvP, and like there will be people that will be so loud about that, and about the fact they should be there. And by the way, Sato, I'm with you 100%. I can't stress enough how much I fucking hate world buffs. Firstly, I don't like borrowed power in that way anyway. And I know it's a weird way to putting world buffs in a borrowed power, but it essentially is.
It's true.
It makes raids feel like shit when, I don't know, a tank fucks up and you lose your world buffs, and now it's like, oh, well, there's just no point even trying to do anything now, is there? Like, can't pass, it's just pointless. It feels like a chore. Having a chore that you have to do, and then you have to log out of the game. I know they're putting the chrono boom in, but, mate, like, world buffs, no, not for me at all. And there's a reason they moved away from that. It's not because it was a good system, or we'd still have them now.
Yeah, I mean, it is 100% borrowed power, too, because your level 60 next Rambus geared character in, like, full world buffs is better than your level 70 entry-level character in TBC. Like, it's just insane borrowed power. And, like, people hate that in, like, future, retail expansions. But for some reason, they don't view it as borrowed power when it's in vanilla. And it's literally like one of the things people hate the most about retail. It's in vanilla, and like people just don't see it.
Yep, I agree. And like you say, it's just it's not a system I like. But again, the reason I said I'm happy I don't play vanilla is purely because that when you try to make sensible adjustments to things, there's always a group of people that are like, well, no, then, if you want stuff like that, go play SOD, go play whatever, it's like, we want vanilla exactly the same. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, man, get a grip. Like, it's shit. Can you not see that? Yeah,
they've made world buffs a little better in SOD, and there was some data mine stuff for the next phase that looks like there might be a way to get the world buffs, like, individually from something. The real system is what you were talking about with like dungeons and SOD. You kill bosses that are like level 55 or higher, and they drop a real, and then the vendor has loads of stuff on it. So maybe that's going to be coming in this next phase, and we'll get to see how that feels to just buy the world buffs from a vendor instead of having to pay 10 gold to go to Dire Maul to spend on a hunter that has a cleared Dire Maul tribute run. I don't think I've been trying to find like a legit run for Dire Maul tribute. Nobody fucking runs it. Everybody just pays the 10 gold to the hunter, and you go through there and you get your buffs. Like that's not like a fun way to get a world buff, to go spend 10 gold to some random dude and do a cleared instance. Like, it's not fun. But if I ran like a Sholo and I got a couple of reals and then had to go to a vendor, that'd be a little bit more engaging. So I'd much prefer it to be off of a vendor. And then like I think they they made a mistake a couple phases ago with it overlapping with Era, where they removed like the time limit for like the Ani buff to drop. Instead of it being like 4 hours, it was like 10 seconds or something like that for like the reset before you could turn in another Ani head. So like that's a positive, I think, on SOD. But yeah, the Era people, the vanilla players, I don't know if they would want that like 4 hour window to still be in these 20th anniversary like realms as well. I'd say just remove that thing. And then same with like Dark Moon Fair. There's no like 4 hour logged in time requirement for the Dark Moon Fair buff to change. It's like instant. It's like you can get your Dark Moon Fair buff, die to a PvP battle, and then you res and you can get your debuff again, or your Dark Moon Fair buff, and try to escape without dying on a PvP server. And yeah. I have soloed it bare biss. I did solo my Dire Maul tribute and got my buffs all by myself. I'm a big boomkin. I can do what I want.
I'm pretty sure they said though they want it as close to 2019 as possible, right? So I just don't see any of that shit being added personally. But
I don't know. They said some changes, and they're giving a couple changes. So I'm
You're starting with the boons, right?
About it, yeah.
Right out the gate, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's possible, and like the cooldown thing should definitely get reduced. Because if you think if this server is running for a year, and there's a 4 hour cooldown on like the Ani head buff, it's not possible for every buff on a, because it's gonna be 2 servers. These are gonna be huge servers. It's not possible in the whole span of the server for every buff to have value, because if there's a 4 hour cooldown on it, because there's gonna be probably, I don't know, 20,000 of these Ani heads being dropped over the year, something like that. Like, you're just not gonna have enough time to even like have each of those heads, even if perfectly played, you wouldn't have time for each of those heads to have value. So I mean,
they just killed the NPC to reset it though, so like
that's true. I forgot about that. It's been a while since I played vanilla. No, I forgot about that thing.
I was like, let me cut you off there. They can throw.
That's true. That's true. I totally forgot about that part. Man, I mean, at this point, I guess it's been like 5 years. Jesus Christ. Yeah. But I haven't thought about Ani head resets in a long time. That has long left my brain. I remember there was something with rogues sapping it to like prevent the buff from going out or something for a little bit. I think they changed that, but like if they sapped the NPC as he started to walk, then like the buff just wouldn't go out. And oh man, dude, I'm just getting kind of flooded with all these awful old world buff memories of like everybody spamming late, like the everybody in the Discord's like, it's dropping at this specific time, and then 6 o'clock rolls around when they said it's gonna drop and it doesn't drop, and everybody's just spamming late, rend late, where rend, and it's just chaos, dude. I mean, it was kind of fun, but
lag, and it's like I'm loading in. Has it dropped yet? Has it dropped? I'm still loading. No.
Did you guys see too when they're in the, I think TBC pre-patch, there was a bug where some people got in their spellbook the ZG buff?
Yeah.
So like players could cast the ZG buff.
Yeah.
I got that, and I was just spamming that while I was like PvPing people. So I was just a rogue, like getting lightning bolted constantly and just fucking people up. It was awesome.
So it's probably very difficult for me to judge, because I've got a very different audience, I suppose. Like the guys that are watching this live, and even the people that watch it back, are probably Cata players, people looking forward to MoP, maybe some SOD players. I can't imagine there's that many like proper vanilla purists that watch me, because I'm very far from it. So it's hard for me to judge, but I genuinely haven't actually seen anyone excited for it. I've seen so many people say, I'll be waiting until it goes into the TBC pre-patch, or why weren't it just TBC, or like, I've seen far more sort of not even necessarily negative comments, but just like disinterested comments than anything else. I've not actually had a single person be like, oh, this is amazing. Like, oh, I'm so glad they done this. So like, is that just me? Is that, are we all seeing the same thing, or like, is there actually a lot of people that are really excited for next week? Like,
That's what I've seen too, but I mean, I think we have basically the same kind of audience.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can't say for sure, but yeah, what I've seen, almost everything I see is people are like, I'm excited for the TBC part. I might check out the, vanilla part just to get ready for the TBC part. But I haven't seen anybody just like, yes, the vanilla part is what I want. It's all about TBC, and then this is like a little footnote, the vanilla part.
Yeah, I've seen people excited for the hardcore stuff, and but vanilla on its own, like being fresh, I haven't seen too much. There has been a little bit, but yeah, not that much at all.
Cool.
But there's another thing that was announced for these realms is for the PvP realm. It's going to be the enforced faction balance, which I've got like, I think it's great on paper, but when there's multiple layers, especially because there's only going to be one server, there's going to be 15 layers on it. So one layer is going to be full of Horde, one layer is going to be full of Alliance. If you're getting ganked on one layer, you're just going to type in your guild, somebody layer me off of layer 6, like layer 1 invite, and people are just going to layer hop. And that's one reason why I like having multiple realms instead of only one that has multiple layers on it, because you can't just be like, poof, I'm gone, I'm on a different layer. Like, to me, that like removes my PvP immersion. When somebody's there, I'm trying to like attack them, and then poof, they're gone.
Yeah, that's been kind of the downfall of the PvP faction balance stuff, is the layers are then not PvP faction balance. At least they weren't when I was playing SOD. Perhaps that's changed, I'm not sure. But that was always the problem, is the server's faction balance, but your actual personal experience is not faction balanced at all, because you're going to be on one of those 15 layers. Maybe you're on the 10% Horde, 90% Alliance layer. To you, for your personal experience, that is not a faction balanced server. That is a opposite faction dominated server. And like that seems really obvious to me, is that you would want to extend that faction balance part to the layers also. Otherwise it doesn't really accomplish anything. But if they do the faction balance servers, I think ultimately it's just gonna make the PvE server like even more popular than it already was, because when people can't make their characters on the PvP server, they're just going to go to the PvE one. And I mean, I'm planning on just playing on the PvE one myself after, I still have PTSD from all the world buff shenanigans on the PvP server in Vanilla Classic. So I learned my lesson. I played a PvP server on SOD 2, and I realized, man, I'm too old for this shit. I'm not interested in the PvP part anymore. I just want to do my raids in peace. I don't want to like be trying to get my world buffs and people are attacking me and shit. I just want to do my raids, man. And so I learned my lesson. I'm going to be playing on the PvE server.
So, okay, I reckon, unless you got anything else to add in regards to the new servers, it'd be nice if we can just sum everything up just for anyone who maybe just joined in halfway through, and then we can move on to Firelands, yeah? I think does that sound good?
Yeah, great.
So fresh servers in general, I feel like we're all kind of indifferent. So some of us are gonna maybe do a hardcore character. Some of us are gonna actually when I say some of us, Subtle's actually gonna take a dive and play properly on a warrior, which kind of disgusts me. I want to end the podcast here and just be like, thanks for coming, Subtle. I can't believe you're playing vanilla when you got Cata. Level another DK, bro.
I'm looking for a guild too. So that is one of the things. I may not play this long term unless I find the right group to play with. So if anybody's looking for a warrior, I would like to tank, ideally main tank, but I understand that might not be doable in a 40-man raid. If you're looking for a warrior, I'm looking for a guild. Let me know.
Does it matter Horde or Alliance for you, or would you play either?
Honestly, I'd play either with the right group of people. I think I'm probably just going Alliance if I don't go into it with a plan, going in. But yeah, I mean, if I'm just looking for the right group to play with, you know. So wherever that is.
Good luck for your Edge Masters.
Thank you.
And then we spoke a little bit about GDKPs, which we're all kind of. I feel like we're all kind of against the change. Overall, we think GDKP should be there. Yeah. And obviously MoP hype. We'll get onto MoP, but I feel like we've spoke about vanilla for so long. I'm starting to come down with something. So let's go on to Firelands. I've got no real direction for the conversation other than, you know, what we think of it. Difficulty wise, we can look at some stats in terms of, how many guilds have killed, the bosses. What are the, if you've done any interesting strategies that might help people. So I'd really like to hear some comparisons between 10 heroic and 25 heroic from you, Subtle, because I know you've done both, whereas my 25 experience is been fairly limited in since launch. Probably gonna be doing more on Saturday when I go to a GDKP on 25 man. Pretty much all of mine has just been back-to-back 10 mans. So Subtle, you take it away. Just general thoughts on Firelands and the difficulty level in comparison to, say, tier 11.
Sure. So, I mean, first 6 bosses are in line with tier 11 difficulty. I'm really, really glad they did the pre-nerf because I played the post-nerf and then I've obviously played the pre-nerf quite a bit. The post-nerf was way too easy. It was like, it didn't feel like you were going to the nice raid tier. It felt like you were doing more tier 11 bosses, but you already had all the BIS gear for it. So it was just kind of steamroll. So very glad they did that. I would understand if they roll out those nerfs sometime later, just to let people catch up a few weeks before Dragon Soul or something. I think that could make sense. We might have talked about last time. I've been talking about a lot lately how the progressive ICC buff was actually super important for just keeping player engagement through ICC. And I mean, a gigantic nerf is kind of a, stark contrast, but ideally it would be, one of those gradual buff situations. I think that's perfect. But at the end of the day, there wasn't anything like that in OG Firelands. Maybe they could add something like that, but they have this post-nerf version presumably ready to re-implement pretty quickly if they needed to. So I mean, maybe, week 10, 12, something like that. I'm not sure how long they expect this to go for, but possibly throw that in at some point for the guilds that are still struggling. But Rag, huge step up from everything else in the raid. I would say he's probably 10% HLK difficulty, something like that, from ICC, somewhere around there. Definitely not as hard as 0% HLK, but for sure easier than, or for sure harder than a lot of the other percentage HLKs. I think around 10% probably. But I've been really enjoying it. Rag specifically, that fight is so good. The rest of Firelands is fine. Alyss Resort as a tank is one of my favorite fights, just because I get to do crazy damage. On 10-man heroic, I actually just started solo tanking this. So I mean, the amount of damage you can do when you have 2 mobs to attack with 1,000% damage amp is so good. I'm sure it's been beaten by now, but at one point I was the #1 overall damage on that fight. I think it was 141k DPS, and I mean that's just so fun. Just getting crazy damage amps. I know it doesn't count for all stars or anything, but I mean
it's still
fun. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. And yeah, I mean, Beth Tilak is fine. Rylith, kind of a snooze fest. Shanox, it's all right. Nothing too great there. Balerock, though, I love Balerock as a tank. It's nice to finally have a hard-hitting boss again, but it's very different on 10 and 25 man. On 10 man, it's just kind of another decently hard-hitting boss. On 25 man is probably the hardest hitting boss we've ever had in any version of Classic so far. So going from 10 to 25, it's kind of jarring. Like on 10 man, you're kind of just chilling. You can kind of do whatever you want. You're just gonna live. On 25 man, you gotta like roll all your cooldowns perfectly, and maybe you even still get gibbed like randomly if you get high rolled. So 25 man is definitely an interesting time, but yeah, the 10 man's very, very chill compared to the 25, at least for that fight. And then Domo, I think we talked before, that fight is just boring as hell. I hate that fight so much.
Just free loot, isn't it?
Fight. Yeah, it's the worst fight in all of Classic, in my opinion. Because it's like an 8-minute long fight that's really easy. You don't really do much. It just takes forever. It is almost twice as long as Vezax, which was previously probably the worst fight in Classic. And it's just a longer Vezax. It sucks. It's an awful fight. Like, it's bad. But Rag's awesome after that. So,
Just out of interest, so with Major Domo, I assume you're doing it where, well, it depends. Like, you're either letting the cats jump a few times, like in cat form, jump a few times, and then never letting it do another special. You're just like in and out at 75 energy ish. Is that what you're doing?
We've just been never letting it do a special ever. We might refine it a little bit, but yeah, we started doing that LOS thing though. So like right before he drops orbs, you go around the corner, so he drops them in, a good spot for you, so you can kind of just go back and forth like that as the tank, and nobody else really has to move. So yeah, I mean, the way we were doing it before, we were moving a little bit more and not doing that LOS thing, but now it's even more of a snooze fest. I move, 5 yards instead of potentially 15 or 20 yards.
Yeah, we do it. We do it a bit different. Oh, well, when I say a bit different, like we do it with the either never letting it change on 25 or keeping it in cat for a few jumps at least. But in 10, we literally stack in everybody stacks. We have the rogue behind, so he's not stacked, so he's getting full concentration and pumping. And just keep it in Scorpion till about, 60%, 70% health. And then we spread a nuke and then never let it change. So we do like the first probably 30% of the boss with just cooldowns. As in, it'll be take as many until the healers then need to start rolling cooldowns. And but that's what we used to do on private servers. We'd keep it in Scorpion for as long as physically possible. Obviously, you don't get a concentration buff, because you're constantly taking damage. But it does mean, it's just face roll on 10 man. It kind of doesn't matter anyway. It's not exactly tight on DPS check or anything like that, But it's such a boring fight. Like, it is so
bad.
It's just, that's the thing. Like, I love Firelands, and as I say, I'm really enjoying it. But there's not that many bosses that are interesting. Like, I think that certain bosses are interesting for certain roles. Like Elish Resort, I love doing as a tank or if I'm flying. That's it. It's got to be one of those two. For every other role or spec or whatever, I think it's a bit shit. Like Ragnaros is great no matter what you are. Like, yeah, that's cool. I do like Balrog, as pretty much everything. I do think it's quite a good fight because I like on heroic how out of control it can get very quick if people are not moving correctly and spreading shit, and then it's panic. Like, I like that. Beth Talak, again, it's quite fun as a healer, just because downstairs is a bit more stressful as a healer than probably for anything else. Shanox, we don't do the ledge strat, and I'll be honest with you, the ledge strat, that's how we used to kill the boss. Well, we used to do it on White Main. Like, we never killed the boss any other way other than the ledge strat. But on here, we haven't done it once. Well, me and Go done it in a 10-man together. And I was saying all along, I was like, I don't want to do the ledge strat. But then people are like, oh, man, let's do it. It makes it so easy. And it's like, oh, it's just so pointless. Like, it's just so easy just to literally just do it somewhere where you've cleared trash. Like, if you've got a decent off-tank that's on Rip Limb, you're never gonna have your stacks not reset anyway. It's just so easy. And then Rylith might as well just have a chest there. Instead of him being there might as well just be a chest with the loot in it. But Yeah, so I can't. That's the whole point that I said earlier about like there's only so long they can keep us doing these 7 bosses because quite honestly, you know, I think a big majority of guilds very quickly will get up to Rag, but then Rag they're gonna feel like they're just banging their head against the wall for so long because it is. I don't think it's more difficult than Lich King 0%. I'd stand by, you know, the LK 0% is still more difficult, but it's very punishing. It's just a very punishing fight. You know, one person in your raid making a mistake can literally it cause a wipe, and you might have been doing the fight for 8 minutes, and then one person does something wrong and it's a wipe, and that's what feels so demoralizing when you're doing that. That you're like everything's going great for 8 minutes. Or 9 minutes, and then one person does something, and it's like, oh, fucking hell, we've got to do all that again. Because, like, the first phase is kind of irrelevant, isn't it? You know, the first phase is just, that doesn't matter. The first intermission, again, if you know what you're doing, that doesn't really matter. The fight don't really start until, well, I don't think the fight really starts until the second intermission, if I'm honest. I would say that's when shit starts to ramp up. I don't know if you feel the same, so I don't know where you consider the fight starting. I just kind of autopilot all the way to the second transition.
I mean, there's definitely like prog to be done on each phase, but for sure more of the prog is that latter half of the fight, which just makes it, you know, even tougher because you are getting to eventually you get to a point where pretty much all your wipes happen at, you know, 8+ minutes. And that's kind of draining, just doing the boss for 8 minutes. You wipe, and then you're like, oh, shit, okay. Another 8 minutes. See if we can do it. Okay, fucked up again. All right, another 8 minutes. And, I mean, then, you know, you were talking earlier about you had some wipes in the final phase. And once you're there, you know, you're potentially looking at 11 to 13 minutes. And, yeah, it's just kind of draining when you are at that point where you're progging that last part of the fight, and the wipes just are so long. But it feels really, really good once you finally get it down because it's, you know, a bit of a grind, and it's just a great fight.
But it's that, isn't it? It's with a time. Sorry, go. Just about the time, because that like. It's that, like you say, when you're doing 8 or 9 minutes and you think, you know, an average raid group probably raids for 3 hours. And, you know, you said roughly overall, including PTR, and then obviously the little bit of prog that you done on night 1 of launch, you know, over 100 pulls-ish, let's say around 100 pulls. If you're, like, that's a lot, isn't it? Like, that's a lot in terms of time when, you know, once you start to get the fight under control, you're saying, really... You might do 7 pulls an hour, tops. You know, like once you're starting to get deep into the fight and prog, it's not like you're getting even many pulls per hour. Where, yeah, it was rough. It was grueling, mate. I'll be honest with you. Like it was fucking wearing me down. Like the first week. Obviously, yeah, it feels great when it then dies. Don't get me wrong, and especially when it dies so convincingly. I mean, when you've wiped that many times, you would like to think that every single person in your raid has got a deep, intimate understanding of every single mechanic. But then you get someone new in, and then you're back at square one.
Yeah. So, what could you tell a difference in the trash between 10 and 25? Because we went in there, our 10-man group, and our tank just got rolled like the first mob because it was on set to 25. Like, I don't, maybe the healers just weren't ready for it, but I didn't know if maybe from a tank's perspective, the trash felt different from the 2 different sizes.
Trash feels pretty much the same. I mean, granted, like you have more healers, obviously, in 25-man, but you don't really notice much of a difference. In, I would say in tier 11, you notice more of a difference. Because in tier 11 the packs were actually smaller. Now that I'm kind of thinking about Firelands, aren't the packs like the same size? I think there's the same number of mobs in Firelands, but like Bastion of Twilight, for example, you know, right when you zone in the packs, it's like what, 4 mobs instead of 8 or something like that. So it was pretty significant on 25-man, the difference in tier 11, but Firelands, yeah, it doesn't really feel like scarier on one or the other.
And what do you think about the like? Obviously, you've said Balrog is specifically like in 25 man. It hits a hell like so hard that it's quite worrying every swing. What do you think about the other bosses, like in terms of not even necessarily tanking difficulty, just difficulty overall?
Overall difficulty. So yeah, like Alisrador, Beth'Telak. Well, I was a little bit surprised that Beth'Telak was, let's see, on 10 man. The kill rate on Beth'Telak's actually like half as much as Alisrador. I thought they would be fairly similar, but yeah, pretty huge difference there. I guess one of the big things on Beth'Telak is if anybody dies throughout the whole fight, I mean, you can battle res, but if you have anybody that dies after, you're out of battle res, it's gonna be really, really rough meeting the DPS check there. And like Alisrador is a little bit more forgiving, where we actually had a poll where I think a rogue soloed the last 15% or something like that, because the mobs on the ground can't attack the air for some reason. So as long as you have a meteor for them to like hide behind briefly, they can do like 15% of the boss's HP or something, while the rest of the raid is wiped, which is kind of nuts. But yeah, I mean the overall the difficulty is similar to tier 11. I think like Beth'Telak, Alisrador, probably up there with I wouldn't quite say they're not really like Sinestro or Neff, but they're definitely kind of the harder bosses around there, I would say. The latter half of the difficulty bosses in tier 11. And then, I mean, Domo and Rylith, it's like those are, Halphus difficulty. But it's a 7-boss raid, so when you already have 2 bosses that are that easy, it's kind of a bummer. Especially when one of them is just easy, but really, really boring. And then, I mean, Shanox is probably, I don't know, like Magma difficulty. Maybe easier than that even, maybe. So, yeah. I don't know. You definitely got like a varied difficulty for sure. It's actually kind of an insane difference, between Rylith and like Rag. But yeah, there's definitely something in there for everybody. So every guild's gonna be able to kill some heroic bosses. For sure, Rylith and Domo. And then you can at least start, accumulating gear there and work on some of the other ones. But overall, I think it's a pretty good difficulty spread.
Yeah, I found Beth'Telak on 10 man actually quite a challenge, I'll be honest with you. I think Beth'Telak heroic on 10 man is quite challenging, just because it's one of those very unforgiving fights. On 10 man for pretty much the entire duration of the fight, you're going to have 1 combat res, and it's kind of iffy to 2 heal. But then if you're free healing, you need to make sure that you've actually got enough DPS to be able to burn the last phase. It's quite a tight one. But I don't know if you've found anything on Beth'Telak in terms of the broodlings and who they target, because it seems to really like paladins. Broodlings, like so in our group we only had a holy paladin in our main group. It's just a holy paladin. And then obviously we've got a hunter, and I would say 99%, literally that high, 99% of the broodlings would either target the hunter or the paladin. So it's very easy just to leave those, whatever side they're coming from, leave those two, just one on either side. The broodlings run straight to them. They then just make their way towards the group, leaving the puddles behind. And then we done another 10 man where we had a holy paladin and a ret paladin and a hunter. And then I would say at least 70% of the broodlings were going on the ret paladin, to the point where it was getting problematic, and we had to send the ret paladin up top. He was down bottom to begin with, and we was like, no, just get rid of him, just get him out of here. As soon as we got him up the top, it was back on the holy paladin and the hunter again. Like, have you noticed any patterns with who the broodlings are actually targeting?
On PTR, I definitely did. I saw a patch note at some point that said they were fixing how the broodlings were targeting people or something. It sounds like maybe that didn't actually happen. I honestly haven't paid too close attention to them. Because in my 10-man, I've been upstairs the whole time. And then in my 25-man, they've had me down below. And I mean, everybody's just been handling their role on that fight. So I haven't really, looked at the Brewlings too much. But yeah, I mean, if you can just know kind of ahead of time which two people are probably getting them, that kind of trivializes it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it really does. And that's what took us by surprise, because we went in and was like, well, it'll be on the Holy Pally and the Hunter again. And then the first one was on the Ret, and it was like, oh, okay, maybe that's a one-off. Next one on the Ret. Next one on the Ret. It's like, what is going on? So yeah, I just wondered if you'd actually noticed anything in 25, because there definitely is something that could be worked out. Do you know what I mean? With enough data and looking through logs, I reckon you could start to see a very clear pattern of what spec or role like they actually prioritize. But overall,
Yeah,
it's a punishing fight.
There's been the GUID thing before, like the ID that, identifies your character when your character is created. They had some mechanics early in like vanilla. I don't know if you remember that. It was like Ani was doing, I think it was like her lava or her fire spit in the air or something based on GUID. So it was literally like based on when you made your character. It was just such a crazy way to like determine a raid mechanic. And I wonder if there's anything like that still lingering.
Yeah, it could be, because there was something like that with Syndragosa, wasn't there? Yeah.
Yeah, Syndragosa. It was targeting like priest or something like that.
Well, no, it wouldn't
respec or something.
It wouldn't target boosted characters, and it wouldn't target you if you didn't have talent points in. So you would just run with no talent points and never get targeted.
Yeah, because the check was for like if you have 51 points in the holy tree or something like that, and so if you don't have that, then you can't get the what was it, unchained magic, unstable magic, something like that.
Yeah, unstable magic, I think, or unchained, one or the other. Okay. Have you done anything in any weird ways that you'd want? Actually, but just briefly, because you've been sat there just looking beautiful. Like, what was your thoughts of Firelands? Obviously, I'm assuming was that the first time you'd ever done it? As in, ever? Like, you didn't do it in an original Cata, or?
I had vaguely remembered some of the bosses back when PTR came out, and I hopped on the PTR. So I think I did them at one point back in the day, but I have a terrible memory. And even my memory from this first raid in Classic is a little hazy. I had a couple of drinks. I had gone on a hike that morning, and then got home and started drinking a little early. So I was a little tipsy by the time we got into that raid there. So I don't remember that much. I remember I was the Sonic person up in the air, and I went to battle res somebody. So I like flew down and I got my B-res off, and I flew back up. And then as soon as I got back up to where the rings were going, my buff fell off, and then I fell to the ground, and I didn't switch into cat form fast enough, so I died. And I was like, man, like, fuck. And the same thing happened on Rag. Like, I was moving in and out of the fire ring things, doing that. Somebody died, and I went to B-res them. The fire ring came underneath me. I wasn't paying attention to my feet because I was worried about the battle res. So I got the battle res off, and then I died. So both of those fights, I didn't get to fully experience because I was dead for half of it. But I feel like I saved the day because I got the B-res off, and whoever I B-resed carried. Like, I know they did, because I've got the glyph. I'm not B-resing somebody with 20% health. No, they're coming back 100% health. So they're not going to die to the same mechanics that I did.
So what did you think of it as a raid as a whole, though? Did you enjoy the fights? Did you think they were, in comparison to Tier 11? Rather than obviously me and Subtle have been talking about difficulty. Like, what about just you've done one clear, killed a couple of heroic bosses, took like 4 hours, first time seeing the bosses. Like, what did you think?
Well, let me back up to before I even got into the raid. I wanted to get my rep to honored. And like from trash runs, the only trash runs I could find was that first day. After the first day, I couldn't find any more. So I got maybe 3 bars from getting honored, and it took a couple of different groups. People would get their rep. It would be the leader, and it would fall apart. I'd find another one. I'm just shocked at how little trash runs there have been, especially because of the items that drop that you can upgrade with the crystallized fire. Like on the auction house, I saw a couple pieces were going for like 30,000 gold. That's an easy WoW token right there. Like do a trash farm, win a piece of loot, put it in the auction house, you got a free month of WoW. I just don't know why people aren't doing it.
So the big thing is that once you hit honored, you can only get rep from the big trash mobs like the molten giants and core-hounds and stuff. So most people aren't gonna go and just farm those specific mobs. So once they get honored, they're just kind of done. And I mean, it's very quick to get honored. Yeah. I think it takes an hour or so to get honored, as opposed to ICC when you were farming the full exalted off trash mobs, and that would take several hours. So yeah, I mean it's just the matter of like you kind of get the rep you want really quickly. So after the first few days, the people who are actually interested in that stuff are done with it. And then now that, people have potentially done the raid twice now and are just honored natty, they can't even benefit from that. So, and
especially with how we play now,
that's all it is.
Where everyone kind of, not expects heroic gear, but, the majority of people expect to be doing some heroic bosses each week, even if it's only a couple. And then the rewards are only 378. It's a 378 cloak where casters can get a 379 with a socket just from doing 5-man heroics. It's then a belt, which the belt is actually best for quite a few classes, to be fair. But, the trinkets are just like kind of okay. Really, it's the ring you want, and then again, that's like now, it's a really good ring, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, it's a lot of effort for not amazing reward. I think it would be very different if those items could be upgraded to 391. I mean, that would have been a very different story if you could then use them with Firestones, because people would be running a rush to get the belts. The trinkets may even be contenders for certain classes as being BIS. I think, yeah. But when it's only 378, I don't know, it's a bit boring, isn't it, really?
Yeah, so then when we went in for the raid, we were doing like a lot of trash skips. So then I was like, fuck, like I'm so close. Like, let me kill like the small packs that like I'm gonna not be able to get rep from here pretty soon. Let's clear those first. And it was like, no, we were killing like specific mobs, doing this route, and then we would wipe, and then I'd have to like focus the fuck up and make sure I didn't pull like a trash pack as I was running back. And like it was stressful. Like I'm not gonna lie, like trash skips and stuff like that like stressed me the fuck out.
Oh yeah, because I took you through the Beftelac skip as well, didn't I?
Yeah, like jumping.
Which one were you guys doing? The left one or the right one?
The left one.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody fell off, and I was like, "That's about to be me." Like, yep, I'm gonna fall off too. Here we go. And I made the jump and everything, but it was still, I was stressing the fuck out. I was like, "Why can't we just kill the trash? Like,
when you
just kill the trash?"
When you say the right one, do you mean round where the portal is to be able to do the delegation quest for the legendary staff, going up and going around that way instead?
I haven't done that, so I'm not sure if it's the same spot, but there's sort of a little like path that leads there, so I assume it's for something else. But you do like a jump, but there's a hole, so if you like miss the jump, then you fall in the hole, and it takes a little bit to jump back out. And like our whole raid, like 90% of our raid fell in the hole, and we it ended up being one of those skips where you lose time on it, but it was definitely entertaining.
It will be where I'm talking about. When you get to the top of the pathway, there's like an arch, like a little archway thing. I'm assuming that's where you went, because that's where the other. If you go the left skip and you go all the way round, that's where you end up. I've never gone the right hand way, personally. I've always just gone left. But I'm gonna have a look at that when I go in there next.
Yeah, it's kind of by the. So if you're going towards like the bridge that takes you over toward Bale Rock, you would go like left instead of right at that bridge.
Yeah,
and it's like up that hill area.
Yeah, that's it. So that's where you do the legendary quest where you kill the extra boss.
Okay. It did seem like a kind of fleshed out path. Like it was kind of weird. I wasn't expecting like an actual path there.
Yeah.
So Shanox, the lead strat for Shanox tilted me because we had done like 3 or 4 pulls of like the normal where we had like a little space cleared out, and we were progging like every single pull. We got further. People were understanding the fight better every pull, and then we switched to the lead strat and just regressed so fucking far. And it,
Oh, really?
like, yeah, and then like we would get back and we would try to reset the boss. Somebody would ass pull, and we would wipe again. Like it was like some dumb shit. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but I was like, can we please, like in my head, I don't think I queued up my mic, but I was like, can we just go back to the old strat, like where we were actually getting somewhere in the fight? Like, come on. Riley,
Were people getting ported? Was that what was going wrong?
they did a couple times, but I think it was only after the tank died. Scotty, you muted.
Yeah, subtle. It was the pulling the boss that was the difficult part, mate. It was people just not being able to stand, away from the boss and let the tank pull. People just running wherever the fuck they want and then aggroing the boss. Like it was kind of horrific. But yeah, like I say, like the ledge strat is great. It works. You know, I don't know. I kind of just don't feel like it's needed. You know, I don't know. I don't know what I would have said I was going to do the ledge strat. You know, if we'd have spoke like 2 months ago about it, I would have been like, yeah, we'll be doing the ledge strat 100% because that's all I've ever done on private servers. But then in our first kill, we didn't even get that far. Do you know what I mean? We didn't even get over to the ledge. The boss had spawned while we was doing other bosses. So it was like, fuck it, we'll just fight it here. And it was just so easy without even bothering. We'd never done it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we just took, in 25-man, we kind of just got it. Once we had the positioning down, we kind of just killed it immediately. On 10-man, I think it took like 2 pulls, and since then, I haven't wiped a single time with it. It's just kind of worked great every single time, and it's just kind of simple from my perspective. Like, I literally pick up the boss, I move it to the spot, and then if an immolation trap is on me, I just, strafe a couple yards, and another one spawns on me, I pop AMS, I eat the first trap, eat the second trap, and then do it all over again, And I just kind of chill the whole time, and it's very nice from my perspective. But
it should be nice for everyone. That's the thing. The ledge strat should just be nice for everyone because there's not really anything going on. There's just nothing to worry about other than watch your feet and move from a trap if one spawns on you. And if you're the off tank, don't go too far to the left. As in when you're up the top, just don't go too far. And it's easy.
Yeah.
But we are talking about people that had never seen it before. It's not like it weren't an organised raid. This is people who had literally never, ever seen Shanox before. So it's like, it's fair enough.
There was like line of sight issues too, I think, for us, like with the healers and stuff on the ledge strat. So, but Rylith, that boss is way too fucking big. I couldn't see what the fuck was going on my screen. Like I was like, luckily Scotty was like, all right, watch your feet when like the lines would come out, like don't stand on lines or whatever. And I'm like, well, I can't fucking tell if I'm on a line or not because there's a boss over top of my fucking head. Like I can't see shit. So like that was stressful, and I was like panicking about that because I don't use Fogies, I don't use weak ores or GTFO or any like add-on that's gonna like pop up on my screen, like move, like get the fuck out. So I was just like stressing, like I was using my eyes, McNulty, but my eyes were filled with a screen full of a rock's asshole. That's all I saw was a big rock butt all the time. And I heard left foot, right foot, and I'm just seeing the booty cheeks bounce up and down. That's all. It didn't matter. I was stressed. Okay?
My favourite bit about Rylith, I don't know if either of you have actually noticed it, is when you charge or you see a warrior charge it. Have you seen what actually happens?
I don't think so.
Because the hitbox is so fucking massive, it looks like they're going to charge past it. It's like they're beelining for the lava, and then they shoot back in. It's like the charge animation on Rylith is so scuffed. It just makes me laugh every time I see someone charge it, because you can almost picture them panicking. Like, where am I going? Where am I going? Because you just go so far away from the boss. But yeah, sorry, carry on, go. Rylith's easy. Yeah, watch out for warriors when they charge in. It looks so fucking so janky.
Beth Thalak, since we were in 10-man, I was asked after a pull or two to go up, and I would try to go up, and I would click on the string, and I'd start to go up, and then I'd hit a ceiling, and I'd drop back down. And I was like, guys, they didn't let me up. And they're like, what do you mean it didn't let you up? Maybe you didn't click it fast enough. So it expired by the time like you got high. And that's why you dropped. And I was like, all right, well, next time, like next pool, I'm gonna click in that shit. Like, so I was spam clicking, went up there and a ceiling again. And I guess you can only have 3 people up there, and I was the 4th one or something. So it blocks a 4th person.
Oh, really?
To go up there. I think that's what we decided.
That's what we assumed. No, nor did we.
I've never encountered that. I guess I've never tried to have more than 3 people up there, though.
Well, we were sending Go up purely because in that 10-man, Go's getting the staff, so we kind of want him to know the bits of the quest that he's going to have to do while we're just doing a bit of a meme run type thing, you know. So I was like, Go, just go up there so you know what's going on up there for when you do the staff quest. But yeah, we because 3 was already up, we're assuming that there is actually a cap. I didn't know because yeah, like you say, when would you ever send more than that up anyway? But it'd literally just go up, hit the floor, hit the ceiling, and fall back down. It was funny to watch.
I mean, wasn't having fun.
Once we're farming these bosses more, like, you know, full 391 and stuff, like I could definitely see, you know, sending more people up there. So yeah, that kind of sucks if you're, you know, capped on how many you can send up.
I mean, look, you know, take that with a pinch of salt. You know what I mean? Like, don't quickly make a video saying there's a cap because, yeah, I'm going by Go's ability to be able to click on a web. Like, you know,
me somehow.
It literally could be Go doing something wrong, but there's not really a lot you can do wrong. So we just assumed that there's a cap on the basis that he tried multiple times and couldn't get up. So
maybe it's
there was already 4 up there. Yeah, there was the tank, the healer, and 2 melee DPS. There was already 4 people up there, so you would have been the 5th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it might be capped to 4. Yeah, well done, Stark. I forgot about that.
Okay. I'll keep an eye on that.
What was the next one? Alyss Resort. I didn't care for flying around. I didn't know that, like, I think we had like 5 people up fucking flying around too, because like the rings were just vanishing. Like I'd get there and the rings gone. They're
on a timer. It don't matter how many you got up. They're on a timer. Like you can get multiple people through the same one. Yeah.
Okay, because I was getting pissed. I was like, who the fuck is taking all these? And I was looking, I was like, there's at least 6 people up here with me. Like, how the hell is everybody in the raid up here flying around? I was mad. I was like, there's healers, there's tanks, there's me and another ranged. Like, who the fuck is up here? And I ended up dying on it. And I lived once because my buff fell off. And I just thought it was because there was so many fucking people up there. Maybe I was just lagging behind because I was drunk at that point. And I was just like, there's a ring. Oh, missed that one. Oh well, like, I don't know, but
and that's the thing. So
the last fights,
I didn't even want him up there. I just put him up there because I thought it'd be funny.
He was like, "Have you ever played Sonic as a kid?" And I was like, "I played it at the dentist. They had it on the Sega machine at the dentist office, so I played it." But yeah, Bellrock.
I love it.
Domo,
I love it.
Rag. Like, I don't remember the last 3 fights really. Bellrock especially. I couldn't tell you what our strat was for that. I just got the pump, I think.
Well, I'm glad.
DPS have
I'm glad me taking the time to actually, like, because when we was doing it, I was even doing like the heroic way we're gonna do the fights. So I'm glad that I wasted my time doing that, and you can't even remember what happened.
Nah, I don't remember nothing. I'm good tonight, though. I'm good tonight. I've been pacing myself. I had the one Guinness. I've got another one in the fridge. I've been putting it off. I've been looking at the time. I'm like 2.5 hours. Okay, we've got a little bit longer. Maybe I can.
Oh, are you guys raiding after this?
No.
No, thankfully not.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to bed after this.
Okay.
I got work in the morning too. So.
Gotcha.
Okay, so outside of the ledge strat, so that's Go's experience. He remembers the first 4 bosses and he doesn't remember the important ones, which is always good.
They're all tilting me.
Is there anything that you found over the last couple of resets, like any ways that you're doing things different reset 2 than you done reset 1, or just things that might not be like public knowledge?
So I mentioned like Solo Tank Alyss Resort before. Just doing it on PTR, that was something I was pretty sure I was gonna do immediately in 10-man and eventually work to in 25-man. Because we did have some polls on 25-man that like fell apart, and I just ended up kind of doing that for a bit anyway. So yeah, Alyss Resort Solo Tank, I think that's something pretty much everybody's gonna, on 10-man for sure, like everybody's gonna be doing that. On 25 man, I think a lot of people will work towards that at some point, especially, you know, once we're farming this, we have lots of gear.
You'll be ashamed. Sorry, I just got to tell you, because I ended up doing it.
Yeah.
I was solo tanking them as a feral druid. I don't know, when did we go? I don't know. Might have been yesterday. It probably was yesterday. And that was because our blood DK died tanking 1. So I had to take over on the second one and tank them both. Yeah, on 10 man. Press more buttons.
No comment. No comment.
Yeah, I thought that would entertain you.
Yeah. I mean, my advice would just be press your buttons. You got some really good ones as a blood DK. Just press them and good things will happen. Yeah. Man, other strats. So, I mean, I think we're gonna be solo tanking a lot of Firelands pretty shortly. So, I mean, some people already are. I've been mostly doing safe strats for everything, just because of, you know, limited time, prog and everything. But I mean, Rylith is a solo tank fight always. Alyss Resort 10 man, I would say most people should be solo tanking it immediately. If not, you know, once you got some gear, you can do it. And then let's see, Bale Rock on 10 man, you should definitely be solo tanking that always, I think. I'm not sure if everybody is, so I guess I'll just mention that one. For sure, 100%. If you're a blood DK, you just solo tank Bale Rock on 10 man. On 25 man, you can do it too. It's definitely gonna be a bit riskier. So if you're like progging that fight, I would still do the 2 tank for progging 25 man. But once you're like full 391 gear, I don't really see a reason to 2 tank it on 25 even. And then Rag's like really kind of dependent on like your kill speed, because those debuffs can get really, really up there. We did prog a lot with me solo tanking it, and I mean, my debuffs were getting up to, you know, 24 or so. I was doing full cooldown rotations to get through everything, and ultimately we just kind of realized like the damage wasn't gonna matter. Like we were getting the 2 meteors anyway, and we weren't gonna get the, you know, 3rd set, which is actually 4. So it was like, do we really need to min-max that little bit of extra feral druid damage? Not really. So just play it super safe, do shorter resets, you know, just never really go above, I don't know, 7 or 8 stacks, something like that. And that just made the fight really chill, which is kind of nice when you're, you know, just slogging through these potentially 8 to 10 minute wipes, and it kind of is just draining on you. But yeah, eventually, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be solo tanking Rag at some point. Once, you know, kill times get quicker and you're going through these phases so fast, you don't even really get too many debuff stacks. And yeah, and then Beth Talag, I don't know if there's really ever a solo tank strat there. Maybe there's some crazy stuff you could do with the drone down beneath to make you not need a tank there. It remains to be seen. A lot of things I've solo tanked before, like going in, I never thought I would have solo tanked them. So I don't want to say never, but Beth Talag is the one fight, like, I'm kind of like, I don't know if there will be a solo tank method there, but maybe. And then Shanox, I'm not sure. I heard some things about there might be some solo tank strats, but I haven't seen them yet, so I'll have to look into that. But I'm expecting like 5 out of 7 to be solo tanked. Domo, of course, you solo tank. So yeah, 5 out of 7, which, you know, if you're an off tank who actually likes to tank, this is going to be kind of a bad raid for you, because it just doesn't really make sense to off tank too much in Firelands.
Definitely built for a feral off tank, innit? Firelands, like, yeah, just something that can weave in real quick, you know, taunt for a second and go back to DPS. So yeah, it's very much just the blood DK show again, you know, main tank blood DK. So if you like tanking specifically, just be a blood DK, like, at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm in complete agreement. Everything, like, even McNulty in chat is Like when you were talking about Rag, same conclusion we came to, where it was like we was having the blood DK just getting ridiculously high stacks, and it was like there is just no point for the sake of our druid going bare form for 20 seconds or something. You know, like it was barely even sort of worth a consideration. But yeah, in the future, I do see it being solo tanked by us as well. But I really like 10-man Firelands. Like, 25-man, I'm the same even when we go forward into MoP. Like, 10-man raiding, because we've got such a tight-knit 10-man group, that it would... I don't mind doing 25-man with another group, but our 10-man group, it's just fun. Doing the progress is fun, and then farming it is fun, because we've just got such a good group of players where we just have a laugh. I don't think I'm going to do too much 25 in Firelands. Really, I've done obviously a lot. I was doing like 2 25-man groups a week in tier 11, and then 1 10-man pretty much every week, and sometimes 2. But I think in Firelands I'm going to do like 2 10-mans every week, and then whenever I can be bothered, I'll do 25-man, like either with a guild or in a GDKP. But yeah, I feel I don't want to burn myself out. I think it's a very conscious decision that like I want to raid more or less every week through Firelands, and not it. I don't want it to start feeling like a chore, because I really do like Rag. Killing Rag every week is going to be fun, and I don't see much changing outside of what you just said. Like Beftalak, I can't personally think of a way you would solo tank it. I've never seen it done on private servers. Like it's just one of those fights where you need a tank up, a tank down. Like but again, I'm sure someone will find a funky way of being able to do it, but yeah, I wouldn't be able to think of it. But overall, yeah, I mean, I think Firelands is a great raid. I just, as much as I love it, I'm hoping to not be in it for a ridiculous amount of time. I'll be happy with 3 months. 3 months in Firelands, I'll be happy with. If it starts, especially with how quick we're getting the staves now, even on 25-man. Like, once your entire 25-man team's got their staff, which is going to take about 12 weeks, maybe 13, 14 weeks, like, you're kind of done then anyway, aren't you? It's like, you're just waiting for Dragon Soul. I'm dreading a long Firelands into an even longer Dragon Soul. Like, they need to just get through these next 2 raids in a timely fashion, and I do think what you said earlier, which we didn't actually even talk about afterwards, was the nerfs. I do think hit it with the nerfs. If they're not going to do anything creative in terms of like a stacking buff or a stacking like debuff each week or each like bi-weekly or whatever, however they do it, I think they should hit it with the nerfs. Yeah, 10 weeks in, something like that. I think would be perfect.
As long as they announce it beforehand and not the week before. Hey guys, on next weekly reset, we're gonna implement the nerfs. Give us 3 weeks, even a month. Like, let us know fucking now if they're having that as a plan. Like, when is it gonna happen? If it is gonna happen, is it even gonna happen at the end of the phase, like when Dragon Soul launches? Yeah, just some sort of timeline would be nice for that. Yeah. Do you guys think that there's going to be any changes to the boss mechanics, like you guys were talking about earlier with Vezex and Ulduar? Could you see them, or do you even want them to make a change to where you actually have to do more of the mechanics on a fight like Domo? Or are there any other fights that you could see them possibly tweaking to force you to do the mechanics that players have already found a way to skip?
Only one major Domo would be the only one for me, Subtle, personally. If they was going to do anything with any boss in there, it would just be that. Like, if they done it where, I don't know, he's got a cooldown on being able to shift again or something, so you're like kind of forced to actually deal with the 100 energy mechanics. I'm not saying they're going to do it, or they're, just out of all of the bosses in there, for me personally, if they was going to do anything with any of them, I kind of think that would be the one.
Yeah, that'd be the only boss. I would say probably reduces HP a lot too if you're going to do that. Because, I mean, it's just such a long fight. It just grinds on for no reason. And, I would reduce his HP by 30% probably. I would be totally fine with them adding something that, forces you to deal with the cats and all that stuff. Yeah, like cooldown probably makes the most sense. But like you just get some count buff probably, so it's really visually obvious for everybody. He gets some count buff that prevents him from changing again or something like that. And yeah, I think that'd be solid because the current fight is literally, not exaggerating at all, the worst fight that's ever existed in Classic so far. It is so bad.
Like, what if they let him see through the wall too, so like you couldn't do your little line of sight around the wall?
That wouldn't really change anything because we'd just go back to what we were doing before. Because before we were just like I was moving as the tank, depending on where the orb spawned. I was either just rotating the boss and the raid was moving across, or I was moving like 20 yards and then, repositioning. The whole goal is that you're the closest person to the orbs is the tank. So, you just move a little bit to make that happen. And, like the LOS strat, it just even further simplifies that strat, so it wouldn't really change anything.
Yeah, first time I've heard about the LOS strat is tonight from you. I've never done it or seen it done. Literally exactly what you just said is what we do. Just rotate the boss. Rotate the boss so the tank's the closest person to the orb. Like, done.
Yeah, Newman did it in their like world first, so that's where it got super popular.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Well, that's Firelands. We're gonna have to probably be quick about. I mean, maybe we do the tank discussion between me and you offline because it's already been a few hours, isn't it? And I feel like that one might take a while. So if we want to get back together, maybe over the weekend or something, whenever you've got some time, just let me know. Because, I want to really get into that. I don't want to be sat here conscious thinking, oh, bloody hell, it's 3 o'clock, I want to go to bed. I want to actually enjoy that conversation. So is there anything else regarding Firelands? Anything else regarding Warcraft Direct? MoP? I mean, obviously MoP, we're going to definitely be doing MoPcast. So Catacast will get an upgrade, and I would imagine they'll be running alongside each other. We'll do, when we've got Cataclysm stuff to talk about, we'll talk about it. But I reckon, like, MoP podcast will start, well, for me, probably maybe after Christmas, something like that, Seems about right time.
Makes sense, yeah. With, like, MoP beta, it looks like it's probably going to be in spring, so it'll start in spring, so
yeah.
That sounds perfect.
And we're all going to be playing on Stormforge like December, January time. So mid-January we can pick up and start talking a lot about MoP.
When would you imagine beta, Scotty? So saying spring. If you had to put like a month on it, you're saying like February, March?
Well,
February is still kind of winter, so.
Well, Cata's beta was far too short. I mean, normally it's like a few months, isn't it? But we was looking at this
like
the other
2 or
night.
3, yeah.
Yeah, Cata was only like 2.5, something like that. It wasn't that long and launched plagued with problems. So like, I'm hoping MoP is longer, like at least 3 months of beta. So if we're gonna get pre-patch around June time, let's say ish, what, like March, February time? Yeah, February, March. Yeah.
So they have they have launch in like autumn though. So like pre-patch will probably be a month, right? So we'd expect pre-patch to hit August, and then MoP releases in September.
So far away.
You're probably looking at. It is. It's rough. So then ideally you're looking at like what, 3.5 month long beta, and that puts you back in March for beta launch.
Yeah, I could see that.
Something like that.
I could see that. I'm hoping it gets revised, like, and I think it will. Because that's,
It's way too long, yeah. I mean, we have 15 bosses left. Like, we have 7 of them already, and then there's only 8 more the rest of the expansion, and we're gonna play that for what, 9 more months? Like, that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gotta come. It's gotta come sooner than that. But we'll see. Like, I do think the timeline will get revised. I think we'll get Dragon Soul end of January, maybe sort of between end of January and middle of February, and then, well, yeah, we're not going to want to be sitting in there until September. Like that would be ridiculous.
Months, yeah.
They said it'll be after January already. They had some announcement that it had been delayed.
Yeah.
So,
well, it was already late, wasn't it?
The earliest, but
it was already like a month late. So February, yeah, would be. Yeah, okay, let's go with February. Yeah, it was meant to launch in October. Firelands was meant to come in October, but it came in November. And Dragon Soul was meant to come in January, so it would kind of make sense that it'll come in February, even if it was towards the end of it. So then, if you say March, April, May, June pre-patch, absolute latest. It has to be. If it's not, fuck me, it's going to be a painful Dragon Soul again.
It's going to be tough, yeah.
But have we got anything else to add, or we can get out of here?
I'm just waiting on Tucky IRL's question, and then we can get out of here. But until they ask the question, we're stuck here staring at each other for a couple of minutes.
All right, well, I'll be back in 30 seconds while we wait for his question, and you can start rounding us out.
You can see Dobby over there. I don't know how far my camera reaches, but I've got my Lego Hogwarts set over there. Yep, I've got that's more.
Okay.
I forget what that is. But
where's Dobby?
It's Hogwarts. Oh, Dobby, he's over there. He's right there. You see him?
That's Dobby?
That's Dobby, bro. I'll go.
It's just like a blur of Legos. I can't really.
Yeah, he's got his book with his sock in it. He was presenting clothes.
Okay,
yeah.
You know what? I can kind of see it now. It's like such a small little blur, but now that you're describing it, I kind of see it.
He's half as tall as Hogwarts. What do you mean you can't see him? He's huge, bro. He's massive.
That's actually insane. I can't believe they didn't do that in the books. Like, just cast like an enlargement spell on Dobby.
Oh, yeah.
Just turn him into a giant. Turn him the size of Hogwarts and just crush everybody. Put everybody in his sock.
Yeah.
Just bash everybody with it.
I've got my
I shouldn't have left you alone
last year.
Oh, here
we go. Jesus Christ! What have you done, Scott?
I'm never leaving you two alone again.
What's your best suggestion to people that want to do some YouTube content? Oh, well, but don't have any editing skills yet. Is it just some gameplay while you do some yapping over it?
Just start. That would be my best bit of advice. Just start. Don't. If you wait until you're some sort of master editor, you'll never start. Just start putting content out. You'll get an editing. Some editing software and stick with that for as long as possible, and trust me, every video you do will slowly improve and you'll gradually get quicker at editing. And it's like anything, it takes practice. I go back sometimes and look at my first videos and cringe. Even my ability of talking to a camera was shocking, and it's practice. It will come, but don't wait to be some sort of don't wait to be Mr. Beast, because it will never happen. You just need to start making videos and you'll gradually get better and better and better and better. I mean, mine's just got worse to be fair, but just don't do what I do.
Yeah, just start making them and just make videos about stuff you like. Because otherwise it's going to be a chore. Don't try to be figure out the perfect niche, but it's something you don't even like. Just find something you're interested in, you're passionate about. Start making content about it. DaVinci Resolve is the program I use. It's totally free and it's insanely good. I can't believe it's free. It's just so good. So that's the program I would recommend. And man, just start making videos and people will watch them if they're good and it's something they want to see. And each video you just get a little bit better and keep practicing.
100%. Cool. Well, that was a nice way to go out. Anyway, so where can they find you? And have you got anything you want to plug? If any events that you're going to be doing or anything? Well, I don't know why my camera just went off. Just anything in general. Yeah, the floor's yours.
Sure. So you can find me on Twitch, SubtleFW, and on YouTube, also SubtleFW. I make mainly tank content. I've got Cata videos out, Firelands videos. In my stream, I'm always happy to answer any questions you got, regardless of what version of the game I'm playing. If I'm playing retail, you can ask me about Firelands, no problem. I know some streamers are, very specific about if they're playing a certain thing, you can only talk about that thing, but literally just ask me about anything. It doesn't matter which version of the game I'm playing. I'll be bouncing between all sorts of versions, and I'll be playing, Stormforge MoP. I'm going to obviously keep playing Cata. I'm going to be playing retail. I'm going to be checking out this Vanilla Fresh thing and eventually TBC. And hopefully some more Wrath again at some point. Would love to play another Wrath prop value. But yeah, if you're interested in like tanking or just hanging out, I try to, just have a fun place to chill out and just game. And just stop by and we'll talk tanks or whatever you want to do.
Links are in the description for Subtle. Do you actually play any DPS at all? Or healer?
I have in the past. So actually it's kind of weird because I played Rogue for like 16 years or so before I went to tank. Like literally when I was like 12 years old, I made an undead rogue and I was like, oh, one of the trees they have is called Subtlety. I'll just name my rogue Subtle. That was it. And then like I was 12 years old, so undead rogue was the coolest thing you've ever seen in your life at that point. And I played rogue the entire time I played WoW, basically until TBC Classic. And then I switched over to prop value because I stopped doing arena and I didn't need the PvP to get or PvE to get PvP gear anymore. And I always played tanks as like alts, but that's when I first like really started maining tank and getting way more into it. But now I love tank. I think it's the most fun thing you can do in PvE, and it just makes content so much more fun for me. Like I never get tired of farming raids and stuff as long as I'm playing a tank. And like I do play DPS at some points. Like in Wrath, I played Rogue a little bit, but I mean generally I just like playing tanks, so that's what I do.
Oh, that's cool. I just wondered. Go.
Any update on Weekson Tavern? Is there going to be any?
I was going to say that
soon.
There might be with all this news that just came out with like Warcraft Direct and everything, and trying to get Hando, to talk to a source, find out a little bit more about this Classic Plus thing that's
the source,
coming out. Yeah, big source. He told me about SOD a few months before it got announced, so it's legit. It's legit. But yeah, we're maybe gonna find out a little bit more about Classic Plus, maybe talk about that, and maybe we'll come back and do another one. It's just doing it every week, it just kind of it started to be more of a chore. But yeah, I really respect what you guys do. You guys just nail it. You guys are on top of it constantly, and I'm like, damn.
No, Go is not me. Trust me. I'm not even joking. 90% of the time, Go will just message me saying podcast Saturday, and I feel bad saying no. That is literally what happens. This is the first time I've messaged Go in ages saying, should we just do a podcast because me and Subtle are getting together anyway. This is probably the first time in about the last 10 podcasts where it's been my idea.
Well, it was my idea, and then you piggybacked on my idea because I was like, do we gonna do like a MoP?
Oh, that's podcast? Right. You asked if we're gonna do on Saturday
with Subtle on Saturday, and he's like, well, why don't we just do it tonight?
Yeah, I can't even take credit. I can't even take credit for this episode. Fucking hell. Cool.
But no, you can find me on YouTube and Twitch. I stream on both of them. I make videos on YouTube sometimes about Balanced Druid. Only Balanced Druid. I'm kind of like Subtle. I've got my niche. He likes tanks. I like Balanced Druids for some reason. I talk about SOD, Cata, MoP now, not retail. So yeah, any version of Classic Boom can. If you have any questions or want to see some gameplay, PvP, PvE, soloing content, I try to do as much random stuff as I can. So yeah, you can catch me on both of those.
Cool. And I don't normally plug myself at all because I'm already live everywhere that's relevant anyway. The only thing I will say is if you want to see lots of MoP gameplay and start getting yourself ready for MoP, follow me on Kick. I know, like, it can be a bit of a pain in the ass to make an account somewhere else that you're not bothered about because you use Twitch or you use YouTube, but on kick.com/Scottejaye, I will be streaming a lot of MoP, literally starting tomorrow. Like, you know, outside of raiding on raiding Firelands, because, you know, outside of that, I've not really got a lot to do in Cata. All my characters are geared just for Firelands anyway. I'll be all, like, leveling and professions and, you know, dungeons, raids, like everything. Like, yeah, I'm going to be doing probably like 80% MoP streams and 20% of it will be raiding Firelands. So yeah, if you actually want to start getting ahead and knowing stuff and asking questions about MoP and even come and play with me on Stormforge, like whatever, you know, it's very much a community guild, so anyone's welcome. But I will only be streaming it on Kick. So whenever I'm doing Firelands stuff, like Cata related content, it will be on Twitch and Kick. When I'm only doing MoP, it will only be on Kick because it's safer there. That's
when
it.
You're placing bets on sports ball and everything.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
Kick.
Yeah, Kick when I'm watching. I watch a lot of football as well. So Premier League. If you like football, I'm always watching football on Kick as well and putting bets on. So yeah, that's it really. That's me done.
Yeah. All right. So we'll be back sometime.
Next week, probably.
I'd hope to talk about the MoP changes before we get into like a MoP podcast and have that like kind of as a branch off. Just
you
like
want to do a pilot episode? You want to do a MoP pilot episode?
Yeah, we got a pre-patch, a pre-beta, I don't know, a pre-something.
Oh, well, I feel like Subtle. We should get Subtle involved in that as well. I mean, he's basically just a co-host at this point, really. Now.
Yeah.
I'm down.
If we're gonna talk MoP, like we'll just get us together and we can get we can get a fourth guest on for like a MoP pilot episode. Yeah. Don't know who.
Sounds great.
We'll get someone.
Yeah, we'll find a fourth.
Willie, probably. I'd imagine Willie's going to play MoP.
See, I'd sent you that earlier too, like Willie, and now you're trying to take credit for this shit. I was letting it slide. I was like, we're just not going to say who the guest that we had in mind was, but you brought it out the bag, so I mean, call you out a second time.
Yeah, but you sent me very different stuff to do with Willis, didn't you? On Discord. I'm just putting it out there. Right, thanks guys, and thanks for the follow over on Kick. There's the first one. Foe, let's go. Everybody else that watches this, make sure you come follow me over on Kick. Go and follow Subtle on Twitch and YouTube. Jump into his podcast, Week's End Tavern.
Wet.
Week's End
Just
Tavern.
Remember Wet.
Sorry, he hasn't done it for ages, so like I forgot his fucking name. Sorry. And obviously Go does things. So we'll peace out and we'll do some sort of awkward hang around just so YouTube gets to catch up, so it don't cut the goodbyes off. But Subtle, thank you as always for coming on. As I say, you're like part of the furniture now. We just love talking to you. Simple as that.
Yeah, thanks for having me. As always, it's always fun to talk to you guys. And I mean, it sounds like we're going to be doing a lot more of these with MoP coming out too. I'm pumped.
Without a doubt. Yeah, we're Horde, Big Al. We're Horde.
It's cross faction though, right? So
yeah,
if you
doesn't really
wanted
matter
to play Alliance, you could still play with Horde.
Yeah, the raids are too, right? Cross faction.
Yeah. I think I think guilds are as well. I think it's all just everything's cross faction. I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh god, that was something that I actually want to. I am going to just end this probably midway through this conversation. But one thing I wanted to bring up tonight was about cross realm stuff in MoP. Because that was where it all started going cross-realm. You know, even when you're leveling in zones and you see people from other realms and, you know, actually people using the cross-realm sort of not dungeon tool, but, you know, LFG tool to be able to make pug raids and all of that. Like, yeah, very much like retail. You know, how quick it is to get in groups and raids in retail and how quick it is to fill raids up. I'd really like that in MoP.
Yeah, it kind of depends if they're gonna keep consolidating these servers, because they announced that before Cata they were gonna get rid of like a bunch of servers, and those servers still exist, like Angerforge and all those ones.
Yeah.
And so I don't know when those are going away, but if they just keep consolidating these and we end up with, like 4 servers, I don't think the Crossrail matters too much.
No, not if we
Kind
just
of
got
be
mega servers.
concentrated anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if we still do have like quite a few servers by that point, then yeah, Crossrail definitely makes sense.
Yeah, awesome. Right, we're out of here. Scully, thank you, mate. Hopefully you see this before I press end the stream. Thank you. Cheers, guys. Peace out.